And we are live. Hey, everybody, this is Roberto Blake. Help you create something awesome today. Welcome back to another YouTube Workshop Wednesday. We're doing a full deep dive into YouTube analytics. So, what you're going to be seeing today is I'm actually going to be sharing with you some of my own analytics, and we're going to mostly focus on a 90-day overview for analytics. And so you're going to get to see some of the back end of my YouTube channel and how all of that works. Most people don't share their analytics. I was actually one of the first content creators to share their full analytics, including what they actually earn from the YouTube Partner Program. So we're going to be diving into that today. We have a full presentation, including a slide deck. You should be able to download it with a link that will be in the description. That will be on the replay after the live stream is over. I just couldn't get the download to finish before we had to go live. We were already running a little late today, but we will be doing a full deep dive and you will get access to all these slides. A lot of our focus will be on the actual back end of YouTube with the analytics. So you will be getting to see that and we will be talking about it. We will be taking some questions from the chat if they're relevant during the talk, but we'll focus most of those at the end. But we're going to make sure that you have a decent understanding of YouTube analytics and which metrics actually matter. And that's what we're going to be covering in today's Workshop Wednesday session. This is week 4. Our previous weeks were to help you set expectations in week 1 and also understand how you can navigate your YouTube career as a working class creator who has a full-time job. We also then moved on to doing a workshop that specifically focused on topic research and being able to do that properly and set yourself up for the beginnings of your content strategy. Week 3, which was last week, focused on titles and thumbnails specifically. So you can go back and you can watch those workshops, and we have these scheduled in advance for the next couple of Wednesdays until we complete our 12 weeks. We also are making sure you can download the slide presentations every single week. Like I said, I'll go back and add it about roughly 30 minutes after tonight's presentation's over. I'll be adding the link in the description for you to get week 4's presentation and slides. If you watch the previous videos, you can already download weeks 1 through 3. And we're going to just try to make sure those are set up more in advance, just so that every single time when we go live, you can always download them. So that's what we have on deck for you today. Let's go ahead and start to set up the beginnings of the presentation here. So this is week 4 of our workshops in our creator playbook series. And uh, what we want to do is we want to establish a couple of things right off the bat. So this is kind of very similar to the training I do over at Awesome Creator Academy. If you want to be able to get the slide presentations, that's where we're hosting them. You can see a link here to week 2's slide presentation. If you want to get that with the QR code or using the link, we're going to basically have a similar URL for week 3, week 4, week 5, etc., etc. So that's going to always be the way to access those, and these slides will start to have matching QR codes for the week they're associated with if you're watching the presentation. In terms of why any of you should ever listen to me in anything I said, my name is Roberto Blake. I've been a content creator since the beginning of YouTube. I started taking it seriously in 2013. I had previous channels with friends that didn't work out just like anybody else. I started taking YouTube seriously in 2013, opened this account in 2009, barely ever uploaded anything, so I wasn't really trying to build an audience. When I started building audience in 2013, I grew that audience from 0 to 100,000 subscribers in 3 years. In year 1, within 11 months, I grew to 10,000 subscribers. By year 2, February 2015, I had 20,000 subscribers. In year 3, April of 2016, I got to 100,000 subscribers and got my silver play button. That was right around the same time in 2016 that Mr. Beast got his silver play button in July of 2016. So we got our play buttons the same year as far as getting to our first 100,000 subscribers. So that's how I did it. I took YouTube seriously. At a certain point in my career, I went all in. I went daily on content instead of uploading 2 to 3 times a week. I went to 7 days a week, went hard. I uploaded about 800 videos in order to get to 100,000 subscribers. If I knew what I knew today, I wouldn't have had to upload 800 videos to learn what to focus on, how to create things that people would be more attractive to, learning to abandon variety content and focus on a primary audience with the 80/20 rule, and even learning how to read YouTube analytics back then. Key point of fact, back then, we did not have click-through rate data. We did not have impression data. We had less than half of the data that you guys had back in 2013 through 2016 and beyond. We did not have that data. And also, we did not have most of the data you currently have in 2025, even in the YouTube Studio app when they introduced that in beta in 2018. So those of us who have been doing YouTube a long time, we actually learned quite a bit with regard to this data right alongside you, because the data didn't exist back then. And also, we were doing this before YouTube Shorts became a thing in 2020. Another reason to listen to me is I personally coached about roughly 700 creators as of this current date. I've coached about 700 creators personally. We've had several people come through Awesome Creator Academy. I've been doing this for a long time. I've helped grow about a dozen channels directly to 1 million subscribers and 80 channels that we know about for sure to 100,000 subscribers and silver play button status. We have a lot of success stories in Awesome Creator Academy. We might talk about those case studies a bit later, but also if you are an education-based creator, this is something I also was able to do and learn that helped me with multiple revenue streams, over $340,000 in revenue through the YouTube Partner Program, over probably more than, I want to say, $800,000 directly in affiliate marketing. I can verify more than 600,000 in affiliate marketing, over 700,000 in direct sales through Kajabi, and over 1 million over the years, my entire 12-year career, well over 1 million in brand deals. So I know how to be a full-time creator. I do know how to teach people how to build a successful creator business. That would be a reason to listen to me. I do not do this with viral views. In fact, I do this with views that you may not feel are impressive, and I still make a full-time income as a content creator, with my biggest revenue stream being brand deals. So that's just something I want to put out there. How long does it take to succeed? We cover this every week when we do a presentation, because we want anyone new to this to have realistic expectations. For working class content creators who have a 9 to 5 job, it usually takes 5 to 7 years to break out and go full time. That's not 7 years to get 1 million subscribers, 100,000 subscribers. We're talking about full time income of $5,000 to $10,000 a month reliably. It takes 5 to 7 years for most people to build up to that. The big reason is because they are trying to make content with the scraps of time and energy they have after working 40 to 50 hours a week, then coming home, being tired, having to cook, clean, maybe wrangle some kids, and then still find the scraps of energy and confidence to make content for strangers on the internet to pick over. That's a lot to ask of anybody. It's a lot to expect that someone who has 10 to 20 hours a week of work can get full-time results from hobby habits. That is why it takes most content creators 5 to 7 years. The overwhelming majority of them give up before they ever get a chance to really be successful. So that's usually what happens for most working class content creators. The goal of our workshops is not to discourage you, but to be one of the places that gives you honest information, tells it like it is, unapologetically, no BS advice, and so that you know what you're in for. Now, what we try to do is we think of this to some degree, and we think of my content and even what we do at Awesome Creator Academy with the pro group, we think of it a little bit as creator night school. So you can think of it as your own online community college education in a way. And the fact that you have to be part-time, you might have to put in a lot more work to get the results that you want if you're doing night school than if somebody who could just be a full-time student of the game. And that's a big difference. A lot of the biggest creators you will ever see, the reason they all blew up, the reason most of them went viral, they don't have a circumstance like you. What do they all have in common? They're mostly kids under 30, usually under 25, not married, no children, no full-time career responsibility because they are young. Most people are not in that situation. But the biggest creators on YouTube that you all love that have gone viral, with the exception of a handful of people like Casey Neistat and Mark Rober, who came to the platform as adults with children, in many cases married or on the way to being married, that's the rare outlier of the most successful YouTubers. For the majority of successful YouTubers, like I said, under 25, not married, no children, they have 40 to 60 hours a week to obsessively throw at content creation. Most of you are lucky if you have 10 to 20 hours a week and it doesn't get to be your number one, number two, or number three priority. So I just want to establish that so that you understand that it is normal for you to have some difficulty in growth, struggle to grow over time. And the reason it's normal and you're seeing other people succeed in a different way is they usually have different circumstances than you. And so you have to understand that, take it with a grain of salt. There's a bigger story behind viral content, and that's usually a big part of it. So here are some stats you need to know so that you can also put YouTube into perspective. I got these from Mario Juice, who's on MrBeast's content team. Take these with a grain of salt because he did get this data from Social Blade, which is fairly reliable, at least for this. Not reliable on what people make in ad revenue if you go looking and snooping for that. It's not reliable for that information, but it is for subscriber counts. The thing is, Social Blade only tracks 63 million channels. We know from, I believe it's Clear Media or someone like that, or the Nielsen ratings, some ad organization. We know that there are approximately 115 million YouTube channels worldwide. Social Blade doesn't usually track the YouTube channels that are lower. It doesn't track the majority of YouTube channels that are lower than 1,000 subscribers. That's why these numbers look like this, because right now we estimate that there are about only about 15 million, and this is an estimate, only about 15 million channels in the world have 1,000 subscribers or more. We have these latest numbers, and you can see how rare it is to hit even 10,000 subscribers. So again, take this with a grain of salt and readjust the percentages here in your head to understand that there are 115 million channels. So you can double the percentage, but not the subscriber counts, if that makes any sense to you. And there are about roughly 15 million channels in the world, we estimate, with 1,000 subscribers or more. It's very hard to track down that number currently. The number we had accurately in 2022 was 10 million channels. But as you know, YouTube Shorts channels have been exploding. More people have been adopting the platform. So that's why we estimate it to be 15 million channels with over 1,000 subscribers now. Keep in mind, there are only 3 million channels globally in the YouTube Partner Program right now. And so it's hard for me to extract the percentage of channels that are over 1K, but the raw number is 15 million channels. So take that for what you will in terms of a grain of salt there. But it's extraordinarily difficult to break through, because it's not a matter of YouTube being saturated. It's a matter of the fact that YouTube is saturated with content people don't want to watch and don't want to support because it's low value, low effort, low consistency, and low quality. It's low hanging fruit mostly. Most content creators are young, have no skills, have no lived experience, have no status, have no social proof, have nothing that currently they can offer most people that is more entertaining than their own life or other content they could watch. So YouTube is not saturated. It's just that saturated with mediocrity And the key here is to actually get good and create as much value as possible for viewers. Now, one of the things we're going to focus on in today's presentation and in the actual analytics itself, once we get into the analytics portion, is that these 6 traffic sources are the main sources of YouTube views. Now, the homepage and suggested basically make up about roughly 70% of all the current views on YouTube, and that is across devices, including connected televisions, which have recently become one of the larger traffic viewing appliances as far as devices on YouTube. Subscriptions is one of the lowest, believe it or not. Subscribers don't necessarily translate to more views because the subscription feed stopped being very hyper relevant in YouTube a long time ago. There are people who use this and who use the notifications, but most people rely on scrolling in the YouTube homepage, filtering through that on their television set, their laptop, etc. Search results, we here still hover around 10% of YouTube's traffic. Much more relevant if you do product reviews, tutorials, game reviews, television reviews, celebrity gossip, and news. Search is going to be your friend still. While not the sexiest traffic source and not the biggest one, it is the one with the least competition, to be honest. So it gets overlooked by people when it shouldn't. So when you look at all of this and then you take this into account, I want to also point out something interesting with YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts globally gets about 50 billion views per day. We don't know what percentage of YouTube traffic it drives right now. Um, it may be conflated in the algorithm feed when they say that algorithmic views represent about 70% of all traffic. So they may be conflating that with homepage and suggested videos. We don't know right now. I'll try to get that information next time I talk to someone on the engineering team at YouTube. But the Shorts feed does account for roughly 50 billion views a day worldwide. If you do not make YouTube Shorts, you are invisible to those viewers and to that traffic source. Um, so that's something to take into consideration. We've already talked about in the past topic title and thumbnail and timing and how this creates value for viewers, but it's always worth revisiting this if you've never seen this slide before or heard anyone talk about this. This decides the fate of your videos when it comes to views, as so far as long form videos are concerned. So that is something that you need to look at. But what you haven't seen is this slide. This one kind of points out and puts into perspective how analytics and how the YouTube algorithm itself works. The YouTube algorithm works in a very, very straightforward fashion. Impressions matter in terms of the opportunities for you to get views. An impression, at least as far as a long form video, requires the title and at least half of the thumbnail to be visible on the screen for at least 2 seconds. So that counts as an impression. Keep in mind that it is possible for an individual viewer to see your title and thumbnail as many as 8 times to 15 times before YouTube stops showing it to them in their feed. If YouTube believes that is something they can predict that person would click on, would usually click on, or should click on. So take that for what it is when it comes to your impression numbers for long form videos. Completely different situation for YouTube Shorts. As for your click-through rate, remember what I said about the fact that even a regular individual viewer could see the same title and thumbnail 8 times, 12 times. You can test this for yourself of picking a thumbnail in your feed and seeing how many times YouTube shows it to you without you clicking on it. You can measure that. So when you consider your impressions and you look at your click-through rate, a lot of you take that a lot more personally than you should. Click-through rate is also the average click-through rate across all traffic sources, and it's your click-through rate average across days or time since upload. So that can be misleading if you look at the average instead of looking at what the click-through rate is today. We'll show you that in the actual analytics when we dive into that a little bit more. We will absolutely show you what that represents and give you a better overall understanding of that. Because I do believe it's actually very important for you to understand what that represents in reality versus at a glance. And so I do want you to know that. Now, view duration, a lot of people focus on the idea that if they get a high click-through rate and a high view duration, their video should go viral. Not necessarily true, because what if you get those things, but there's just not that many people interested in a topic? You could get 100% of people that are interested in a topic, but if that 100% of people is only 10,000, 20,000 people, then that's it. So it doesn't really matter. You cannot exceed the amount of views in proportion to the people who actually care about the thing that you made a video about. So there has to be a market for the video. You can't just go viral by reaching these stats. People genuinely do have to care about this video and care about the subject, have to care about the topic. Now, watch time is the best indication to YouTube in many ways that people care. A lot of people think it's just about the view duration, but or the percentage viewed or the retention rate. If that was the case and you made shorter videos, but you made a 3-minute video, you got almost everyone watching it to watch it to 100%, you're not guaranteed to go viral just because of that. Most people may not care about that video overall, so it doesn't matter. But also, that video only has the ability to keep people on YouTube for 3 minutes. That video only has the ability to keep people on YouTube for 3 minutes. So does it really matter? Not necessarily. What matters to YouTube is whether the click-through rate and the average view duration themselves produce an abundance of watch time for the platform compared to other videos of similar length of a similar topic uploaded in a similar time frame. As long as you remember that, and I publicly had that summary of how YouTube works confirmed by YouTube employees on X publicly. So we actually do know that this is true and that I'm not just saying this to say it. We've had this confirmed by people who would know, people who work at YouTube, that the idea is that it does measure those things. We'll also be showing you in analytics what YouTube measures, so you don't have to take my word for it completely that this is true and that this is how it works, because you will be able to see it with your own eyes. In fact, even right now, if we look at YouTube's content tab, it actually does reveal this. Um, so let's see here. If we go to YouTube's content tab in analytics, the first thing YouTube shows you is impressions, just like I talked about. And again, it defines impressions as this, and it says you can increase the number of the chance of YouTube suggesting your content by increasing click-through rate and video watch time. So this is why I said watch time is the all important thing for YouTube, is because YouTube itself is saying that. It also says and tells you what impressions are, and that it has to show the thumbnail, how many times the thumbnail was shown to the viewers, just like I said, and whether that resulted in the view click-through rate and whether people were predictably watching. So that is important. Now, what comes next for YouTube? It shows you the impressions, and it shows you, and it talks about the click-through rate from those impressions. Then it goes into the average view duration, but to what end? It ends with how much watch time did you generate from those impressions, which means that's what YouTube measures. That's its ultimate goal. That's what YouTube wants. So the thing is, it doesn't matter if you get a high click-through rate and average view duration. What matters is, does that create watch time, yes or no, and how much watch time does it create? And YouTube itself says it will give you more impressions and more opportunities if you create more watch time. So click-through rate and average view duration only are valuable if they lead to longer and longer watch time on YouTube as a whole. So when I tell you that this is how the algorithm works, you can trust the information because we got it directly from YouTube itself, and they show you it right there in YouTube Analytics, plain as day for everyone to see. What do they want? And that's how the algorithm works. So it's a matter of impressions because that's how many people, once we see the click-through rate, that topic is relevant to, and then how much time they watch, percentage watch, whether they abandon or complete with the view duration and the retention, that's their interest. And the overlap between that and watch time is their attention. Click-through rate and high watch time makes it a higher priority video for that person, a higher priority topic for that person, and it does affect their previous watch history and what they're going to be referred and what they're going to be shown, and also more viewers like them. So you can see, again, don't just read the big text of this Venn diagram. It is important for you to understand that what makes a video valuable to YouTube is the intersectionality of these things. But what does that mean? In terms of how you need to approach this, topic has to be relevant to the viewer. The timing has to be there for them to click on it and make a priority. If it's an interesting topic, but it's outdated, am I really going to click on that? In terms of a priority, I need the thumbnail to also dictate to me that this is something worth my attention. And the title has to also communicate that it's the way I'm interested in the topic. So you can see the intersectionality and the overlap here and why it would matter. So value for the viewer then translates into what we measure and why we measure it. If you guys wanted your channel to succeed more, you don't just prioritize what videos got the most views. You should look at what topics you made content about that got the most impressions and the most opportunities in YouTube. And then you should look at how you're communicating to improve the click-through rate there. And you should also look at a correlation between videos that got high impressions and got high watch time. So you should be considering that. To improve retention and view duration, you should be looking at how you structure your videos so that people are not abandoning them early and more people are completing them to the end of the video. So I want you to understand this. YouTube is not saturated. It's saturated with mediocre content. It's saturated with low-hanging fruit. It's not saturated with people who are putting their audience first, making strong, topic-driven, data-driven decisions. It's not full of people creating clarity for their viewers, people focusing on content pillars that drive views for them repeatedly. You need strong video ideas. You need to be making high effort content in some categories if you want to compete. If you're in something competitive like gaming, making a video anyone can make doesn't really matter too much. So higher effort is required for gaming, not necessarily higher quality editing, but higher effort in terms of you're more likely to get views for ladder pushing or being a world champion than you are to get views for a Let's Play video. That's just another Let's Play. You're more likely to get views for a speed run and a speed run challenge and breaking a world record than you would for just doing a regular generic Let's Play video that any 15-year-old can make. So you have to consider high effort, high quality. Sometimes quality may not matter as much as effort. You do need high value in the packaging of topic, title, thumbnail, and timing. And then you might need high levels of consistency depending on your content format. For reaction videos, news videos, and commentary, high consistency will matter, and high value and high consistency will matter more than high quality for news and commentary. We don't need cinema. We don't need absolute cinema for news, commentary, and celebrity gossip now, do we? We don't necessarily need absolute cinema for a tutorial video, now do we? But we might for a vlog, we might for some other types of content, we might for a get ready with me video, depending on what it is. We might need that. So you have to really take these things in consideration. Hooks are important because you have 2 to 8 seconds to keep people watching a video. That's it. That's all you have. That's where the decision to abandoning a video will be the highest. So under 30 seconds, but it's 2 to 8 seconds really. The 30 seconds reinforce all of that. That is the highest abandonment rate opportunity. We do have a quick question here. It seems like it could be an important one. So it's from our friend Michael Pepper Tech. So I'm going to answer this one real quick here. Question: if people click on a video and click off from it shortly after it starts because it's not in a language they understand, would that cause a false positive stat for YouTube? Highly possible. It's highly possible. YouTube is trying to mitigate that between accurate closed captions for videos and between the new AI auto dubbing feature rolling out to all channels. I believe that they say by end of this year, all channels should have it. I just recently got it myself, so I'm gonna experiment with it, particularly on evergreen older content rather than newer content, and see if it can do it well. So that could be a fact. It absolutely could be that um, audience from other regions clicking on your content and for whatever reason not having the expectation or that they thought they could read the closed captions but couldn't, or that the closed captions would be accurate, but they weren't, that could affect your retention and average view duration. It absolutely could. My key to this is do not be as obsessed over it as certain creators. Do not be like Mr. Beast levels of obsessed over it because videos that have a 35% average view duration still can get hundreds of thousands and millions of views. I've seen enough YouTube dashboards and data in my time. Basically, everyone I work with, I've seen their YouTube dashboards. So I've seen hundreds. I have access to dozens of dashboards right now. I have access to, I think, at least 40 or 50 dashboards right now. I've seen enough data. I've seen enough channels to, and obviously I can't share anyone else's analytics here without their permission, but I've seen enough data, enough analytics, enough channels to where I have seen, and I have myself at least 90 to 100 plus videos that have over 100,000 views on them. Most of them have 35% or lower average view durations. So while we want to have the lowest abandon rate early possible, it is not an absolute death sentence to a video. So don't worry about the fact that you cannot block people outside of America from watching your videos. If you were a gaming creator, I'd be more worried about it, but I wouldn't in general. So yeah, I thought that was an important question. And so thank you to Michael for asking it. Yeah, but we'll be diving deeper into analytics overall. Now, something I do want to bring up here is we do talk about these 15 creator fundamentals. There is a slide after this that's actually, I think, in many ways just as important, but for this particular presentation, it's even more important. But this is one of those slides that people like to screenshot, so I will give you a moment to do that. Now, this particular slide, this one is unique to this presentation. People ask which metrics in YouTube matter. I believe these are the most important ones, and we will be deep diving into these in the back end of YouTube. Now, This can feel overwhelming when you see these are 15 things that you need to be measuring, but you don't need to measure these every day or all at once. Realistically, if you wanted to, you don't even need to audit these every time you upload a video, to be honest. I will be producing a checklist of what to measure after you upload a video. I will be doing a checklist on analytics that matter that is very similar to this, but in different scenarios when they matter or what you need to measure to accomplish specific goals. But holistically speaking, if you care about the holistic growth of your channel, views per month, views per individual upload, average view floors and view ceilings, subscriber growth conversion, general overall channel growth quarter to quarter, all of those things. Then yes, you'd want to measure all of these things, but not necessarily all at once. You could measure and do a deep analytics session around this once a week for about 30 to 45 minutes of analytics would suffice. I do not think you need to spend more than 90 minutes a week in analytics, if I'm being honest. That's the most that I think most people should focus on analytics. And so that I think really matters for you all, because I think a lot of you go and every day you might be spending 20 to 30 minutes in analytics, analyzing things every day. You might even be doing it every time you upload. I think that that's excessive, and I don't think that is necessary. I think there are a few things you could look at in the first 24 hours of your videos, because you do want them to do well. But even if they don't do well in the first 24 hours, it really doesn't necessarily mean the death of a video. I've had some of my most successful videos of all time only get 2,000 views in the first 24 hours of upload. Even with 600,000 subscribers, that still happens because do people care about this topic right this minute when I uploaded it? So that's important. So I have a video that got less than 2,000 views the day that I uploaded it. It's sitting at over a 250,000 views right now because it was an evergreen video. Meanwhile, a video that got 5,000 views in the first hour that I uploaded it, it was a news topic. So by the end of a week, it had 15,000, 16,000 views. It was good for a week. It was over. You would have thought, oh wow, I got 5,000 views in the first hour. This video is going to go viral. No, it was a news topic. When the news cycle was over, so was the video's views. So you need to understand these things and understand when you're doing a trending or topical video versus when you're doing an evergreen video. And that's why I don't believe you need to be obsessed every minute in a Mr. Beast like fashion over your analytics and the data and so on and so forth. And that, yes, there are opportunities with A/B testing, for example, that you could look at. There are things you might want to measure there, but even YouTube does the A/B testing, and it looks at A/B testing the video's reaction to watch time, and the A/B test is what, 14 days? Doesn't that tell you that YouTube isn't the one giving up on a video and YouTube isn't the one killing off a video? It's the interest in a topic that decides how long a video lasts and how well a video does. And therefore, it's decided by people. YouTube could give you billions of impressions. It doesn't matter if people reject the idea, reject the premise of the video, or reject your take on the video. And one of the reasons we know this is because even quality over quantity can be virtue of analytics proven to be a lie, by the way, because all any of you need to do to dispel the lie of quality over quantity, or at least narrow it down to specific niches and specific type of videos instead of a universal axiom, is go look at politics YouTubers and daily politics commentary channels. If you need an example, you could look at someone like, and again, you don't have to like their politics, but you could look at someone like Anton Daniels. The quality doesn't change video to video, but the views do. Same thing for Nate the Lawyer. Um, the quality doesn't change, the views do. And it's how many people care about this thing right this minute in the moment. Same thing for reaction commentary channels like mediocre tutorials and reviews. Again, I'm telling you to study these people. You don't have to agree with their content, but you should study them because it proves something very interesting. The views are decided by how many people care about the video topic, title, thumbnail, and the timing. The quality of their content does not ever decide the fate of their views. Now, there are niches where quality absolutely defines the fate of views, but those are less niches than you might think. Even in gaming, it's more about value to the viewer than it is quality. It might be that you're there for the value of the information, or you might value that someone is a high level player or a ranked player or a world champion, but that's not an indicator of quality. You'd have to actually watch the video to decide what the quality is. You're making a guess or an assumption on quality based on value, aka you're judging a book by its cover, as we covered in week three's workshop on titles and thumbnails. So partly a recap here, but this will become important because we're going to measure this in the data around click-through rates when we go to individual video reach and we talk about click-through rates and impressions and so on. This will become important. So we're going to give you a few pieces of vital information before we dive into the back end that can help you. The vibes framework will help you with clickable thumbnails. We covered this in our previous workshop. If you want to watch week three's workshop, it's available for free on YouTube. This is important because it will help you with higher quality thumbnails and packaging that will lead to views. We address the clicks framework, which is going to help you for your titles. This is something we teach in Awesome Creator Academy and something I work with people one-on-one. We do title crafting for a reason. Concise wording, leveraging psychology, identifying with the viewer, compel emotion, keyword triggers, status and social proof. In gaming, an example of this is I fought 1,000 creepers with just a shovel. I built the Eiffel Tower out of TNT in Minecraft. Um, those would work because the wording is concise. The language is at a fifth grade or lower reading level. This is what we mean with concise language. Is not just about shorter titles. Shorter title doesn't equal better. It's just a matter of how clear it is. So concise or clear wording. We do like to go less than 70 characters so YouTube doesn't cut off anything, but 60 is fine. 60 to 70 characters is fine. You could use all 100 characters if you're doing a important video that needs to convey that as far as a tutorial video, a review video, a guide video. It's fine if it's 100 characters, but the key is really more about a third to fifth grade reading level. You want to leverage psychology. We talk about the 5 C's of clickbait psychology. You want to basically lean into a primal emotion, desire, or need, or as I like to call it a lot of times, ambition versus anxiety framing. You could use negativity bias. You could use avoidance. You could use confirmation bias, so on and so forth. Familiarity bias is another one. You need to identify with the viewer. How do I identify with the viewer? I put small YouTuber in the title, new YouTuber in the title, things of that nature. That speaks to the identity of the viewer of, oh, I'm under 20,000 subscribers. Oh, I need to get 4,000 hours of watch time. I'm not monetized yet. So that identifies with the viewer. Compel emotions. A lot of times I will use something of how to do something fast, how to do something cheap, how to do something better. Those things tend to how to do something without this other thing. Those things tend to compel emotions. The simplest emotions to compel, again, you largely focus around the various primal triggers. A lot of those things are anxiety about time, anxiety about money, ambition or desire for money, ambition or desire for time via productivity, also outcome guarantees or their unlikelihood. So using statistics sometimes works, 98% of small YouTubers fail for this one reason. Oh, that's a compelling emotional title. Up, I'm there. So it's things like that. Keyword triggers is not about SEO as much about knowing what your audience responds to and what words will incite them. So that's like knowing putting something like algorithm in a title. That is putting something like, for example, in a lot of politics videos, they will use debunked sometimes. So that is so debunking this or debunking that, something the audience is familiar with. In Clash Royale, it's things like ladder pushing. It also might be something else associated with the game that they know, like card evolution. So it's about using colloquial words and phrases, things that are niche to your community. It's about using niche words or jargon that people care about. For example, we care about watch time. We care about the word subscriber. So that's definitely something you could look at. Friction, yeah, reducing friction, aka also creating or specifying value for the viewer or clarity can help eliminate decision fatigue. So yes, that's valid. So it's not about dumbing down the titles. It's about the fact that you don't want people to have to overthink something when they're trying to make a decision. Clear is always going to be better than clever. So if you have a choice between clear and clever, choose clear. And then finally, status and social proof. Status and social proof. This can be in titles and or thumbnails or in combinations. A lot of times, status and social proof can be your credential, and that can be in your title or thumbnail. So that's doctor reacts, lawyer reacts, so on and so forth. You get the idea. It also in gaming circles could be ranked player, world champion. There are a lot of ways to establish social proof. We did talk about this in our previous workshop and lecture. So we won't harp on it too much here. Now, something we haven't introduced to you guys is a retention framework called the hooks framework, which focuses on the first 30 overall seconds of a video, but primarily the first 8 to 15 seconds of a video are of paramount importance. You should help validate that they are on the right video. You should validate the video that they clicked on. If they clicked on a specific title and thumbnail, within 8 seconds, there should be no doubt in their mind that you are going to deliver on the promise of the title and the thumbnail. There should be no doubt. In 8 seconds, they should have absolute faith in that. So your first 8 seconds of the video must help validate the video's title and thumbnail. Within the first 30 seconds, you have to offer some kind of upfront value that was worth clicking on by itself. You have 30 seconds to deliver some value upfront, or they will leave the video. Your video needs to open up a curiosity loop so that they can watch beyond that first 30 seconds. You need to set some kind of stakes that keep them emotionally invested in the video and create some kind of FOMO so there's a fear of missing out if they don't watch the rest of the video. And you need to make sure there's something that absolutely stops them from clicking away once they open up that video. So this is the hooks framework. This is your checklist for reducing the abandonment in your first 30 seconds of them clicking on a video. This is crucial and critical to the success of your videos. Most of you are losing 30 to 50% of your audience in the first 30 seconds of a video. You are struggling with retention, impressions, and performance because you are losing 30 to 50% of your audience up front in the first 30 seconds of the video. This is the answer to that problem. Now, for a lot of you, we did talk about this in week 2 of our workshop around topics. You need the focus framework. Everything you do as far as content should fit your audience avatar. You should be researching outliers and qualifying the demand for your video's ideas. What you want to make isn't necessarily what your audience wants to watch. Before you commit 10 to 20 hours of editing this video and making this video, maybe you should qualify whether there's even demand and interest in the thing you want to make. If not, move on. If you can't find videos that have done this topic and have gotten 100,000 subscribers, sorry, 100,000 viewers in the last 90 days, maybe, just maybe, this isn't a video you need to prioritize making. You can if you want to, but if you do, lower your expectations in how well it should do. Context matters. Make sure that whatever you make, that the context is very clear to the viewer on what the video is about and why it should matter to them. Use uniqueness to stand out. Just because you're doing something that's already gotten views before doesn't mean you can't do it differently or do it better. And then you need to have specific intent. The audience needs to understand why this video matters, and that needs to be abundantly clear to them. And it should be why it matters to them, not why it matters to you. The watch framework. This one is what will increase the overall watch time for your videos. You need to win attention, add value to viewers, have good timing and pacing, make sure that you create clarity. There should be no confusion, and you need to hook them with moments. If you can do these things, then you can absolutely have a video that is successful in creating watch time and retention. In terms of an overall data-driven strategy, this is the overall key. We will revisit this more toward the end here of the workshop, but I do want you to be able to have a moment to glance at this and to understand what a truly solid data-driven strategy for YouTube could look like. Our workshop is not over. This is actually just really, to be honest with you, more or less the first half or first two-thirds. We're about to do our full deep dive into the YouTube analytics dashboard itself, but I do want you to at least be able to see this summary of what a truly data-driven YouTube strategy will look like. Oh, thank you for letting me know I'm muted. Appreciate you guys. So basically I was just talking about audience avatar. So audience avatar is essentially the identity of your viewer. And so it's not just, oh, I'm making videos for gamers. It's what does that mean? If you're playing PUBG or Fortnite, you're not just making videos for gamers, you're making videos for FPS gamers. So first person shooters and then that specific game. But what else about that? Well, the typical 80% of that audience will be adult males between the ages of 16 and 26, about roughly. So that's very specific in its demographics. Well, then what's the psychology of a male adult gamer between the ages of 16 and 26? And then what are their biases, whether it's negativity or familiarity biases or confirmation biases? What does that look like? And then also, what's their lifestyle? When will they have available disposable watch time? What will they make a priority? What does their day look like? What other media and content are they consuming and will be familiar with? Why does that matter? Because then if you're going to edit memes into your content, you would need to know which memes are relevant in the moment for that demographic audience, right? And you'd need to know psychologically whether or not it's going to land correctly or what landing correctly looks like. So, therefore, audience avatar. Here are all of these details that encapsulate my viewer. So, there is that. So you want to prioritize those type of things and you want to understand them. So I hope that answers the question again of what is the audience avatar. Now let's go ahead and go into YouTube analytics really quickly. So when we go into YouTube analytics, what we're first greeted with is an overview. Now, for me, my preference is to always use the 90-day overview. Some of you will use 28 days. Some of you will use 1 week. I always prefer the 90-day overview. It gives me more clarity. It's also the maximum amount of data that YouTube provides in the content and audience tabs when it comes to this. So since 90 days is the longest running amount of data that it gives complete information for, that's the one that I prefer typically. And I'm just gonna shrink that so we can see all the data here. So I use the 90 days. I also believe that this represents the best answer to your actual active audience. Your actual active audience is nothing to do with the views per upload that you get or the number of views that you average and what your view floor is. It's the unique number of human beings that watched some content from you, no matter what that content was. So I look at that. I also look at the returning viewers as the loyal audience overall. So this is what I measure. My belief is that YouTube needs to put this number right under or beside your subscriber count in terms of unique viewers per month. And I'll tell you why. In Spotify, you can see the number of followers an artist has, but you can also see the number of listens that they got on the number of listeners that they got in terms of unique listeners of their streams on Spotify. I think YouTube should put this number out publicly. And then I think that creator anxiety about view to sub ratio would vanish forever. And we'd never have to hear about view to sub ratio ever again. And I think that creators would feel less judged if everybody just knew how many unique humans were hitting their YouTube channel every single month instead of looking at how many views they get per upload or how many views they get per month, as if that's meaningful, because it's not that meaningful, to be honest with you. And if people just knew how many humans you reached, that would just be a little less insecurity, more of an ego boost to the creator. When I coach and I work with creators, I show them this number first out of everything in their analytics so that they get perspective, because this helps with the YouTube mindset and this helps creators understand better that they are performing and that they do have people who care about them, because creators take individual uploads personally. Even I've done that. You need to stop taking individual uploads personally and you need to look at the channel performance as a whole, because you get paid every month for however many views you get on all of your content, not just your latest videos. How latest videos do is all about creators' ego and emotion and insecurity and desire for validation through views. It's not meaningful to YouTube whether your latest video gets views and advertiser dollars or a video you made 2 years ago gets advertiser dollars. YouTube gets paid either way, and so do you, no matter what people chose to watch, as long as they watch something. As long as they watch something. So as harsh as it sounds, you need to emotionally divest from the views on whatever your current upload is and just worry about getting as many views per month overall that you can be paid for from a monetary standpoint. So that's what I would say. Now, overall, we're going to look at overall analytics because I want to explain what each of these things mean to you before we go too far. So you can see whatever your views are in a certain time period, the watch hours over a time period, the subscribers over a time period, and the revenue over a time period. Interestingly, YouTube used to put the watch hours first, but creators complained. And so views come first here, but YouTube itself prioritized watch hours as the most important metric before they made that change. And I thought all of you should know that because if YouTube decided to put watch hours first, that tells you that's what they care about. Just like I showed you when I showed you the content funnel and how YouTube, when you go to the content funnel, cares about impressions only because impressions, click-through rates, and average view durations lead them to their real goal, watch time. If any of you are familiar with marketing or with data, then you know the bottom of a funnel represents the outcome that is desired. So that is what we would be optimizing for. And the top of the funnel is just what can lead us to that ultimate goal. So that's what we're valuing. So what YouTube values more and values most is watch time, but it knows creators value views. So it does that. And then it says watch time because you would think, well, we value views, subscribers, and revenue. Watch time is the last thing we're worried about. Well, it's the most important thing to YouTube. So that's the compromise. That's the compromise. You'll also see from my analytics that the most important thing tends to be consistency, because the more you upload, the more opportunities and the more overall reach, better performance. Longer without uploads, even if I live stream, then less overall performance. Now, in my case, I also did evergreen videos that I knew also could have initial launch momentum earlier at the beginning of the year. Um, and so but I also have evergreen videos. As you can see, I have an evergreen video here that is still performing. And so in this time period, it's not always your latest videos that will do numbers. For daily news and commentary and gossip channels, yes, their latest or viral entertainment channels, sure, their latest videos will do numbers. But overall, I've found for me that evergreen content tends to do more views over longer periods of time. Again, this green screen tutorial being a primary example. More recently, these videos are at the beginning of their life cycle in terms of these videos on copyright music. They're at the beginning of a life cycle where they are going to end up doing long-term views. And I will show you an example here because they're creating the same pattern. These two videos have the same pattern as this video. So to give you a further example, we'll go into individual video analytics because that's what most of you are going to want and need to measure anyway. So this video, I actually undersold it. It's well over 250,000 views. It's almost 300,000 views. If we move this tab from since published, which it defaults to since upload over lifetime, it'll paint a clearer picture of the performance. When I initially launched this video, it did 1,400 views, and then the views went to like 20 or even 5 or 6 a day. Now, what would normally happen for somebody with 600,000 plus subscribers is they'd see that and they'd get embarrassed, but they'd be uneducated if they did that. And then they'd delete the video. And then they wouldn't get 300,000 views on this video because they let insecurity make a decision instead of data. So with this example here, what happened was this video inevitably over time just kept doing better and better in search where it got its views from. Both Google and YouTube search are responsible for its views. It ended up ranking in Google search and YouTube search. And then it steadily got to a view floor of getting hundreds of views per day instead of dozens per views per day. But I had to wait out the clock on that because if I just got myself get insecure and embarrassed, it wouldn't have worked out. So again, YouTube doesn't give up on videos if they're evergreen in nature and if there is a demand and interest in the thing that you're doing. And so, as you can see, the video currently gets hundreds of views per day, and it's climbing up to a daily floor now in its late stage that is similar to its initial first day run. It can do that. So when you make evergreen content like I'm talking about, the video itself never dies. It can make money indefinitely. It can bring you subscribers indefinitely over time, and it can perform like this. This video has a very strong average percentage viewed of 60% percentage viewed. It has replay value as well. And so you can see it did very well. Majority of its traffic, if we look at its traffic, majority of its traffic comes from YouTube search, and the external search is all Google. So search represents 90%, I guess, of its overall traffic. So again, search is also while it gets the least views out of YouTube overall, it's also the least competitive for those views. So there is an opportunity to win there. You can see that this says it has a high click-through rate of 12%, but I want to show you something. It didn't always. It went from 1% and 2% to over 10%. And there are days where it's over 15% and days where it's down to 5. But these are also averages. And its current click-through rate is over 20%. Its current click-through rate is closer right this instant. It's closer to 30% right now. If we look at the average that YouTube gives us, because when you guys see click-through rate, it's not the real click-through rate. I want you guys to know this. This is important. This is the average of all of the click-through rates on this video over its entire lifespan averaged. So that means with the low of 1% and the high of 30, which is where it is basically right now, it's averaging that to be 12.2. So if I only look at the average, YouTube misleads me about how well my video's click-through rate actually is. You should never judge the average that YouTube reports on. You need to click into the reach and impressions, and you need to study where is it at now versus where it's been historically. That's important. The other thing you can do is if you click on see more, you can go to traffic sources. And so let's see. I want the traffic source for this. And so if I look at the traffic sources, and then if I take this from a line chart to a bar chart to make it easier on myself, you can see here the various traffic sources for the video over its lifetime. And from that, I can also look at the click-through rate. Now it only gives me click-through rates for the traffic sources that YouTube controls, mind you. And you can see that also is going to average my click-through rate based on traffic sources. So if it's grading me off these traffic sources, again, it's not entirely accurate as to what my actual click-through rate is. So I could be misjudging it if I don't look at this. And so what I should judge it off of is where did I get the most impressions and what's the click-through rate on that? In this case, it's search, and the average click-through rate over all time is 16% there. But if I go ahead and if I look at that, then I can see, okay, I got 200,000 of my views from search. And so what you want to do is you can look at these traffic sources over time, and I can see the click-through rate for the traffic source over time. And currently, right now, my YouTube search click-through rate is 30%. It's 30%. So if I judge the 12% number just at a glance without digging into the details, I would be grossly misled. I would be grossly misled about how well the video is doing in terms of the click-through rate. And so that's why these kinds of analytics matter. And that's why you need to pay attention to it. So now you know, and knowing is half the battle, as they say. But I thought that that was interesting to point out because most people wouldn't know that. And they would just take what YouTube is putting in here at face value without realizing that it's an average over time and it's an average based on traffic sources. So for those of you watching in the live chat and those of you watching the replay, is that something you were aware of, or are you completely blown away knowing that and knowing that you can't necessarily just go off of that value at a glance and that you'd have to drill into it like I did? Because if you don't, you could see how it'd be misleading. So, did any of you even know that before I showed it to you? I'd love to hear back from you about that. Here is something else that I think is important is looking at your traffic sources and understanding where your traffic is coming from. And again, how much of that is algorithm-based traffic is over here on the right. And this is under the reach tab when you click on individual videos. Another thing to note here is how useful or not useful notifications actually are. Not particularly helpful. YouTube also tells us the search terms for here. Since most of this video's traffic is search, this is incredibly useful and helpful to know about. Also knowing what um, my suggested videos referrals were, even though suggested videos are a small portion of my traffic, it's nice to know what is referring me and what's resonating and what I'm lumped in with. So again, very helpful information down here. Something that's going to blow most of you away though is the audience data. So device type. Most people, go figure, who do search content for video editing are on their computer, which I assume to be true, and then their mobile device. So that's kind of helpful. But here's something interesting. Watch time from subscribers versus non-subscribers. So almost no one subscribed gave this video watch time, but what about views? Were the views from subscribers or non-subscribers? Oh, interesting. 98% of all of these almost 300,000 views were from people who were not subscribed. So, a lot of you overvalue the idea that you're making content for your subscribers instead of making content for your audience avatar. And this is why I focus on the concept of the audience avatar. It is exactly because of this. For the far majority of you, 50 to 80% of all views on every single upload will come from non-subscribers. There will be rare exceptions that are happy to tell me how they're exceptions and how more than 50% or more than 80% of their views come from subscribers. I've done this for so long and looked at so many hundreds upon hundreds of YouTubers' analytics and data that I can tell you an absolute certainty, no matter what your niche is, no matter what your topic is, no matter what your genre is, no matter how big your channel is, for most YouTubers, 50 to 80% of their views on every single upload are from non-subscribers. That is how they keep growing. That's what's normal. That's what's normal. If you're an exception, I am very happy for you. But that would be what's normal. Non-subscribers drive the majority of views, and you want that to be the case because then you can turn those people into subscribers if that's the case. So you want to reach people who've never seen you before. That's where growth comes from. One second. So we want to do that. The other thing is we can account and give some grace to our video's performance when we understand how many people are watching from our host country, the country that we reside in, and the language that we speak. If we start to see significant numbers from the international community and we start to see um, that translations, auto translation, and subtitles, if we start to see that data, we can give a little bit more grace to video performance and retention because it at least puts it into context. Gender data and age data do help us also consider things like our thumbnails, our editing, our speech pattern, a lot of the things that we will make decisions around. We want to think about this as helping us understand more of the audience avatar of that video and whether it resonated or not. So we do want to pay attention to that audience data. And I think that this hits different with everything I talked about with audience avatar. I think that seeing these numbers for you will hit differently on your videos. And you want to measure these with your top performing videos of all time and the videos that got you the most subscribers, not just the most views. And then you want to understand that data. So very important. As you can see, the overwhelming majority of all viewers of these videos are not returning viewers, but are new viewers. With tutorial and how-to and help content, that is actually pretty common and that's pretty normal. In particular, if you don't make a series of similar videos, that'll be the case. The ideal and goal would be when you have something that performs this well is to double down on it, make update videos, make sequels, make similar videos. In this particular case, the lesson here would be this is a video on how to green screen in Adobe Premiere Pro. And I made the video to where it is a tutorial that is under 2 minutes without being a YouTube short. It's a regular video. As you can see here, it's not a YouTube vertical short. It's just a very short tutorial that does exactly what it says it does. And then not much more. And then you can see when people have figured out how to do the thing, they're out. So that's how it is. Now, if they dip out over here, they won't know how to properly color grade a green screen video so that it doesn't look flat and lifeless and they don't look too pale. But you can see that most people are like, oh, I think I figured it out. And then they dip, but it's fine. Um, so the lesson in strategy for me going off of this video is what if I made this exact same video, but instead of only targeting Premiere customers, what if I made this video for people who use DaVinci Resolve? What if I use this same video idea for people who use Final Cut Pro? What if I do this same video idea for people who use a really popular mobile video editing software like LumaFusion or KeenMaster? What if I did this for a free video editing software for people as quickly as possible for something like CapCut or even Adobe Express? So that would be an idea of how I could get 6 more videos that could perform similarly. Another thing is, what if I just did Adobe tutorials for advanced techniques or techniques people want to know and did them as quickly as possible without wasting their time? Videos that are tutorials that are under maybe 3 minutes or the shortest tutorial of their kind that accomplishes the desired goal. So what if I did one on captions and taught you how to create and export closed captions with Adobe Premiere, and I taught you that in under 2 minutes? What if in under 3 minutes or so, or the length of a song, what if I taught you in the length of a song, 3 minutes and 20 seconds, how to add background music in Adobe Premiere Pro and showed you step by step how to do that? What if I taught you how to sync your audio from multiple microphones or to multicam, do multicam video when you have multiple camera angles? So those would be things that do well similar to this that I could use as an example and say, okay, I'll make more videos like that. So that's how I'd analyze like this video. Engagement. Looking at the retention graph is really important, and a lot of you just stop here and stop at the spikes. Most of you have never clicked on see more. If you clicked on see more, this can reveal to you many things about retention and this chart. For example, when we hover, this shows us what YouTube is looking for in terms of ideal retention. You can see the green here where it wants a flat retention graph or where it wants spikes. This would be ideal. What's typical is dips. Mine has the spikes, so mine represents closer to the third image for this case. So that would make some sense. Now, here is something we get in retention, where we can see retention of new versus returning viewers. As you can see here, the retention data is very similar. So that's the segments. I don't have paid traffic for this video, so you could see if you needed to, if a brand was boosting a video, you would use this to see what was organic versus not. Subscribers versus non-subscribers retention. This is interesting that non-subscribers were much more engaged throughout the middle, whereas subscribers gave me more of a chance, and then they left at about roughly the same time. So that's interesting. Now we can use this and we can see compared to all videos on YouTube of a similar length. And notice that YouTube says all. Someone did challenge me on this and say, nah, YouTube isn't comparing to all videos on the platform of similar length. It's only comparing to your videos of a similar length. No, YouTube says right there, compared to other videos, shows your video's audience retention compared to all YouTube videos of similar length. So there you have it. So this is what matters to me because this reveals the algorithm. This tells me that I'm not up against every single video up under the sun when it comes to what my retention is. I'm only against videos of a similar length. This could inform decisions about how you make the content. Now, compared to videos of similar length, look at my retention. It starts off with above average, goes to average, and then it's well above average to high throughout a significant portion of the video. Could it be that when a video performs like this, that YouTube evaluates that to be of high value to viewers and of a high quality and will then refer it and give it more impressions, more opportunities to do well if most of the video performs above average to high? Well, compared to videos of a similar length, and then how many videos on this topic can be of a similar length and can be edited in such a way as to be interesting and retain people? Oh, well, that's interesting. So those would be decisions you could make about the length of your videos. By the way, this works in extremes because this video is short, so you could say, oh, an extreme here. This works for the replays of these live stream workshop as well, because what you'll find is there are videos on this channel, and I'll show you the analytics for them, that are workshops that are 3 hours to 4 hours that have hundreds of thousands of views, 500,000 views, 250,000 views, 100,000 views, despite being 4 hours long. And those are replays of live streams, and they are real viewers. And I will show you the data on that because what I found is extremes do well in YouTube and there's less competition in extremes, which means it's easier to overperform in extremes. Now, whether or not you're in a position as a creator to have access to those extremes because of time, resources, support, experience, that could play a role, and you shouldn't feel bad about that at all. Now, with the detailed activity view, we're able to see exactly the number of viewers that were present during a specific part of our video. And so that can tell us things like, again, exit rates of, okay, how many people did I keep to the end of the video? In my case, I kept over 70,000 people to the last second of a video, and I kept 250,000 people more than halfway. This helps my 60% overall average. So, and again, this also accounts in this case for rewinds because this is a part of the video that people rewound to. So you guys, most of you have probably never analyzed the see more portion of your retention graph. and is literally one of the most important things you could ever do to have a better understanding of the YouTube algorithm, a better understanding of your overall videos, their performance, and why they might do well in YouTube and why they might get more impressions. Speaking of impressions, number of impressions decides how many opportunities you have to get views in the first place. I could never get this many impressions. Sorry, I could never get this many views without having a significant amount of impressions. It's opportunities. I believe that I got this many opportunities because there are millions upon millions of users of Adobe Premiere Pro. There are millions of people who would like the skill of making green screen videos using their software of choice. And there are replay viewers who will have to watch this more than once to be able to get the value sometimes because they may not remember exactly how to do the task. So I would, take a guess. And again, YouTube's missing a little bit of data here for me. That happens sometimes. So I can't see um, the exact unique viewers, unfortunately, on this. I think I can for the last 90 days, though. So yeah, the unique viewers to this video over the last 90 days alone were 45,000 people. So there are 45,000 people that watched this video for the first time in the last 90 days. There are 3,000 people who watched a video from me at some point and then also watched this video. So you know, that's something to keep in mind, and that does help you understand the potential of reach for new people, new opportunities. So very important, very impactful. For me to get that, again, I'm converting at a high rate over the last 90 days based on that. So this all helps me, and this is all here in the reach tab. Now, in the revenue tab, this is 90 days revenue. If we do since published, this video has done over $16,000. Sorry, $1,600. I don't know why I said thousand. $1,600. And here we get to see a breakdown of it of watch page ads versus supers. So again, I got super thanks here at some point, at least one. Advertisers paid top dollar for this, and the reason that the RPM looks significantly lower compared to what advertisers paid is because not all the views were monetized views. And so what we can do is we can see that based on estimated monetized playbacks. So the thing is, I got almost 300,000 views, but only half of them, or a little more than half of them, played ads for whatever reason. Could be people doing ad block. It's not a video that has any mid-roll ads, but think about it. I had a really high RPM with out even having mid-roll ads. The RPM here is because of the number of monetized views and then what I was paid versus the actual number of views. So the thing is, it's going off of the views I got versus the views that were monetized. If you look at how many monetized views I got and then what I was paid, you could see this, and I technically got almost exactly $10 of an RPM. But if you measure the views I got versus the monetized views, meaning ads played on these monetized playbacks, 50% of ads didn't play. So since 50% of ads didn't play, I have not a $10 RPM, but a $5.60 RPM. So that would be the reason. So if you guys are ever wondering, why is it my RPM doesn't look like what it should for the views I got, it's not taking into account your estimated monetized playbacks. You'd have to go into advanced analytics to see that. I believe that they should show you eRPM, but they're not going to because you're gonna like do the math and it's gonna come out like this. So that would be why. But I'd like an eRPM number as in effective RPM because I would like to just know the actual number. um, so we have that. It also tells us the ads earnings by type and skippable ads. I also think it's worth noting that This is a super short video, so I didn't earn much in YouTube premium revenue from it. But on long videos, it is possible to earn significant YouTube premium revenue. So this gives you a sense of the analytics of that particular video, but I used it for a reason. I think it is prudent to show you all the analytics of a video that's, for example, a high performing live stream video from the past and show you the analytics on that. Um, because I think it is relevant to show you what is possible for the extreme of long form evergreen content, and that evergreen is your friend. And this is why I also love doing these live streams, because they can perform later. So if you look at this live stream has been around for a minute, but look at the numbers it's done over a period of time. First day out the gate, nothing too impressive. Okay, like up, and up and up and up and up and up. And so, why does this live stream work? Because this live stream, despite being almost 4 hours, is considered the definitive course for free, for $0 free on YouTube, for learning about how to design and make and sell merch as a content creator. It is considered the definitive resource for that particular thing. So since this is considered that definitive resource, and since it has a prolific over 500,000 hours of watch time, half a million hours plus of watch time, YouTube is not going to stop promoting this thing anytime soon. It could end up being my highest viewed video of all time, given another year. Um, Now, if we also look at this over time by seeing lifetime, you can see that it does still get significant views, not as much as it did, but it still trickles in views every day. But it could be doing better. It could be doing healthier, but it's run its course. If this never got any more views, it's run its course. It's made over $11,000, 5,500 subscribers, 500,000 watch hours, and almost 1 million views. So it's done its job. And what I want to show you is its abysmal click-through rate compared to its impressions. It has less than a 1% click-through rate. This is why I mean about watch time being the most important metric on YouTube, because look at that click-through rate. It is an abomination of a click-through rate. But the thing is, over time, it does a little better than 1%. It can have a good day and do, decent percentages of click-through rate, but it largely doesn't. Now, this is also an algorithmically beneficial video because most of its traffic is from suggested videos. This is something I want you guys to look at the format of live stream replays, and why I do that, and why it's become one of my staples. And it's for this reason. It's the potential of a video to do this, of a live stream replay. It's that potential, and this is also my empirical evidence of YouTube's bias toward watch time based content, aka watch time traps and session traps. My belief in YouTube's bias toward high watch time and longer sessions, viewer durations and sessions, keeping people on the YouTube platform longer. Aside from everything YouTube has said publicly, this type of data being consistent not only across my own channel, but across multiple channels that I've worked with and coached in the past, and big YouTubers that have shared data with me, make me believe in this watch time and session bias more than anything. So that's my point about algorithm theory and why I believe in that. I also believe there are thresholds of it for different formats, live streams versus replays versus shorts versus regular videos versus podcast, etc., etc. But in general, it tends to hold true overall. And again, the original concurrent and peak viewers are only over 100 here, but look at the views that this thing has done over time. So that makes a difference. Here's the other thing, though. Over the lifetime of this video, in terms of retention, the retention over the lifetime of this video is, relatively speaking, compared to other videos, going to be above average throughout a good chunk of the video. And so that's extraordinarily helpful. And when something has a average view duration of 40 minutes, and that represents 20%, 20% isn't bad when it's almost an hour. So it's just something to keep in mind. In terms of detailed activity, there are about 100,000 people that have managed to get to watch 2 hours of content. So why has YouTube promoted this and given this almost a million views? This would be exactly why. So this would be the primary reason. And so that's why it would matter. Now, in terms of the concept of revenue and what I do about ad placement and evergreen videos, I want you to see what a over 10,000 earning view video is and over 10,000 ad revenue video is. So as you can see, almost all the money for this video, even though it's a live stream replay, was in watch ads after the fact. YouTube also shows you how much money you made while live versus the replay here. This is a breakdown, and most of you have never seen the breakdown of a video that made over $10,000. No YouTuber for the most part has probably ever shown you this. So this is it live. Now, in terms of what advertisers were willing to pay, $30 per 1,000 views for this. The revenue per view turned out to be, $14 here. And it's because if we look at the monetized playbacks, so estimated monetized playbacks, what you'll see is that only 600,000 of the 800,000 views were monetized. Therefore, that's why the RPM and the CPM are slightly off, but it's not that badly off because this is pretty close to 50%, but just not quite. So that would kind of make that difference. Here's another interesting thing for you to kind of see is just the difference in daily revenue. But when you make evergreen content and when you guys make a bunch of content, the thing is the amount of dollars you can make per day go up when you do that. And a lot of you just don't think about that because YouTube in general doesn't condition you to think about that. And being a YouTuber doesn't condition you to think about that. The other thing is revenue, RPM itself can fluctuate over time. And so in this case, if all I want to see is basically the RPM, I can see the RPM fluctuate itself over time. So just keep in mind that RPM is not a static value. It changes daily based on the ad auction. And so you can have weird spikes or anomalies around this. So there are days that were 26 RPM days just based on the market. So do take that with a grain of salt that this is why another reason I like evergreen content and I would batch as much evergreen content as possible. If I had my way, I would be doing daily content again. If I was doing daily content again, I could have weird RPM spikes and weird RPM days. And if I had maximum days in the market, I could have weird days where I could make, if I had enough videos that were evergreen all at once. Let's say I had 100 fresh evergreen videos this year that were all still fresh and still getting views. There could be spikes in the market where I could get $40 RPM days. And if I got $40 RPM days across 100 different videos on the same day, I could be making extraordinary amounts of money just by virtue of how much content I have out there that's still getting views. So this is another reason why for full-time YouTubers or people who aspire to be full-time YouTubers or after you get monetized, one of the reasons I do believe in quantity over quality is that it's just a earnings to effort ratio and that I treat this like a video game or a machine. And if I just run the numbers, it just would make more sense to prioritize getting out more quantity of what people respond to and people said yes to than trying to eke out 10, 20% more quality and get something to be really, really good and get no bump in performance or a very little bump in performance. The thing that would make me the most money, get me the most views, get me the most subs would just be making more and more and more and more and more of what people want. Proof of that is looking at my lifetime overall channel analytics. And I can actually show you and prove that to a degree. Like for me, it's the lifetime analytics. I've seen over my lifetime that the more consistently I upload, the better my channel performs and the more views I get. And so improving quality without maintaining consistency has not favored my channel's outcomes in views, subscribers, or money. The most gained subscribers were during the periods of time where I uploaded the most. Um, so let's see here. There is a way to also measure that. If I use the metrics of videos added, and then I did a breakdown by date, and then we go to yearly. If we go by yearly, and if we were to look at subscribers, we don't need average view duration, we don't need watch time, we only want that. So if we look at the time period where the time periods where I gained the most subscribers, there's a correlation between that and videos added. Now there's a glitch here with the 1500. There was a glitch in 2018 where everyone's videos were unpublished and then published again because YouTube changed their security stuff. So largely ignore the 2018 number as being relevant to this. But if you look at my peak YouTube growth, and we look at by subscribers, my peak YouTube growth for subscribers is around periods where I did more uploading. 2018, I know that the rough number here was still about 200 uploads when we account for the anomaly here. And my growth for breaking out in YouTube and growing was here. So again, the number of uploads per year makes the biggest difference. And so the thing is, if we look at videos added over time and subscribers gained, the less consistent I am, the worse the channel performs overall in general. So for me, the answer has been very, very simple. Just upload more videos is the answer. Disproportionately, that is the answer. And I have a lifetime of data to conclusively prove that the optimal amount of videos for me to grow at a rate of, if I want 100,000 new subscribers or more a year, the right number, if you look at all the data presented, the right number is for me to upload 150 videos a year, not including live streams. Not including live streams. The right number is 150 videos a year to do 100,000 subscribers per year. Every metric seems to indicate that that would be the sweet spot. This 61 is primarily live streams, not individual video uploads. If it's video uploads by format, this number is considerably lower. It's a little higher here. So that's the key to it. Now, this is not, well, I'm using my channel as an example here. I'm showing you this report because every content creator should consider um, doing a report like this. What that translates to me is, for me, I have to upload 3 videos a week, 3 regular YouTube videos a week. So on the days that I don't stream, I should upload videos. That's what it would be. I need to upload 3 videos a week, come hell or high water. That's my best outcome based on previous historic data. If all I wanted was 100,000 new subscribers per year. My best overall outcome that I could possibly get at this point would come from uploading daily content. Again, by every metric and every measure, that would be ideal. And that would be the sweet spot. Even with this 31 videos added, the majority of those are not edited videos. They are live streams. I've only actually uploaded 10 regular videos to YouTube for 2025. So if we multiply what I got out of that by 15, then yes, we go back to that's 100,000 subscribers. So it's all math. YouTube is a numbers game. This is a machine. You should look at it as such. Um, and that is something to look at. By the way, you can also ask questions about this. Now, for everybody watching, do what's sustainable for you, but also you could put things in place to make things more sustainable for you. That's why for me, I'm realizing that over editing and pushing quality, quality, quality on the editing side, retention-based editing, that's not gonna work for me, and it never did, and it's not what performed for my channel. The videos that are over edited don't necessarily do any better than unedited live streams. You all value information, not editing. I found that most viewers that are 30 or older do not care about like hyper caffeinated ADHD editing styles that work in TikTok when it comes to watching YouTube content. In fact, nicer, slower pace, even keel delivery tends to do better. So again, actually, let me go back to lifetime data because there's more we could look at, but that would be a key. All of you should do something like this to know what your upload cadence should be and to analyze it for yourself and to figure out what is sustainable for you. And you should look at your historical data around that. And again, in the chat, I am curious about what is the um, most uploads you've ever done in a year? What's the most uploads you've ever done in a year? And how many subscribers did that get you? If you know that information, I'd be super curious about the data. Now, one other thing I do think is interesting is I can get certain reports in YouTube. For example, um, I can get the top performing videos, um, 24-hour performance, and I can see what videos did the best in 24 hours. But I also like measuring this for how many impressions did they get in order for that to happen. And we look at that and we see there is a consistent pattern for the most part of that, and their click-through rates, even their average view durations are very similar in many cases, and their percentage viewed are very similar of these top performers. And then the below average ones are mostly live streams, so I largely ignore that when it comes to first 24 hours because live streams aren't supposed to perform in the first 24 hours. So this all makes sense, and this is interesting data to be able to get. You can also filter this by various dates. You can look at specific content when it comes to this, but in this case, we have a bunch of live streams scheduled, so that's not going to help us here to look at that. Some of you could look at your top traffic sources. I like to convert this to a bar chart. Just know, okay, this is what's working. You can also look at device type. And I'm going to look at that for the last 90 days. So interestingly, I actually have a fairly substantial audience when it comes to TV viewers. but most of my viewers are mobile phones followed by computers, and then I actually have a decent TV viewing audience. So that's actually very interesting. So again, this could be important data to know. Geographies, this could be important data to know for demographics. So the United States is the overwhelming winner here, but then it's also India, but that's closed captions, United Kingdom, Canada, and then it's various other localities. So again, this is just good information to know. TV is a growing demographic that's out there, by the way. A lot of people will sit there, especially in things like gaming, and they will watch it on the biggest screen they have possible. This is a trend that started during the pandemic, but it is a trend that has continued since. Viewer age is good to have into perspective. So again, I know that the biggest concentration of my audience is um, elder Gen Z who are finally adults to millennials and Gen X being disproportionately the overwhelming majority of my audience. So the reason that the 25 to 34 has grown so significantly is because of people aging up. This is 90 days. So again, more millennial Gen X than anything else. Very little Gen Z audience for me overall. If I go to lifetime, then those metrics skew even more toward okay, young millennial to older millennial to Gen X being disproportionate audience. Gen Z is aging into my content, but not Gen Alpha. But I have the oldest of Gen Z within the audience. So that's a pattern that I could recognize is that okay, people are aging into my content, but people don't tend to age out of my content, which is interesting. If you care to, because some of you might be vloggers or you might be real estate agents or something of that, you could look at the views by city if you wanted to, and see which cities provide the highest viewership. This could also help with planning and timing your videos. For me, it's very clear that I plan around East Coast because of the disproportionate audience I have in New York. However, there's overlap for that for London and UK to where that doesn't hurt me too badly. And then even Chicago. So with the majority of my audience being even US cities at a city level, that is ideal. So it's just something that you would think about in your timing. So again, we get incredible data when it comes to YouTube. I can also see which in this case, I decide, well, which YouTube source gives me all my subscribers? And it's individual YouTube watch pages, which is individual videos for the far majority of it. Then the YouTube homepage and channel page being that, and then subscription feed. So again, interesting data here for those who care about that. In terms of subscriber status, there is something for subscriber status in terms of the views that come from subscribers versus non-subscribers. I am not shocked at all that 80% of all my lifetime views were from non-subscribers and only 20% of my lifetime views, 43 million, were from subscribers. I tell you guys all the time that I believe in this 80-20 rule of non-subscribers watching more than subscribers. But this doesn't just apply to my channel. I've seen this play out time and time again across most YouTubers. It's about 50 to 80% of all of their views are non-subscribers. This is also why their channel will grow though. I know that deep down some of you are like, I wish my subscribers all watched my videos, but the reality is For growth, you need people who've never seen you before to find your content and support your content. I don't feel that operating system would matter for most people, but it is there if you did care about it for any reason. There might be rare content where that matters. Now, weirdly and interestingly, a significant amount of my views have come from Windows devices. I would attribute most of that to tutorial content, Android devices on the mobile side, then iOS, and then it's Macintosh computers. I would argue just because more people own these across more geographies. So I would attribute this to large populations of students, for example, and then abroad and so on and so forth. So that would just make sense to me. But there is a significant amount of viewers that do come on smart TVs. So I do think that that is interesting. I wonder if it can give me that for device type by subscriber. Wait, subscribers and then breakdown by. Nope, doesn't give it to me for operating system. For that, that combo won't work. I wonder if it does for device type though. Gives me views. I wonder if it can give me subscribers though by device type. I doubt it. I doubt it can give me that, but we'll try. Nope, it cannot give me that combination. It says this combination of data is not supported. I wish it was supported because I would personally be curious about that. So again, those are some individual analytics numbers. Another interesting analytic that I can show you that I think can help a lot of you is the concept of what is getting views in real time. If you pay attention to what is getting views in real time and not just how many views they're getting, you could determine what your audience cares about most. Again, tutorial content in real time right now is killing it, even though it's an older tutorial that still works. These other evergreen topics are killing it in real time. And so I can use this and say, well, okay, even though this is a 2022 video, I should just make similar content to that. And people currently in real time do care about it in the last 48 hours. And that's been working. So you guys could be doing and looking at that. Another thing you could look at is for a lot of you, in the audience tab, there are other channels that your audience watches, and YouTube will tell you that your audience has watched these channels, a good chunk of them, in the last 28 days, and it will rank them by how many people in your audience watched those channels. The same thing for videos that your viewers are watching. What your audience watches. Videos from other channels that your audience recently watched in the last 7 days, and results are ordered by the number of your viewers who watched those videos in the last 7 days. So a bunch of my viewers watched this video on the monetization update last week from vidIQ. A lot of people are watching these strategies from Vanessa Lau, our friend Nate Black. I have never heard of Chet Callahan, but apparently is getting some traction with my audience. Our friend Ed, not surprising there at all. Think Media Podcast, and our good friend Omar Takori. So again, I am not surprised at what and who all of you are watching in addition to me. Um, Video formats in terms of this just tells me that a lot of my audience watches regular videos. A lot of them watch shorts. Interestingly, not as many watch live streams, or at least have not in the last 28 days. So it's things like that that give me a heads up. 16% of the audience watching on television in the last 28 days. What about last 90 days? 20% of people watching on television in the last 90 days. Do not sleep on the television. Do not. I'm telling you. So it's things like that. We will cover a bit more here in a second. I just want to take a quick, brief second, not only to get something to drink, but also to bring up something here, an update from Terry. Terry says, "Hey Roberto, you looked at my my channel on project management last week suggested IRL. Thoughts on blending format segments like a TV show, talking head, IRL, and multiple choice questions for gamification in the same video. Not as much of a fan of the multiple choice questions, a fan of everything else that you're suggesting here. I do think that also visually branding the thumbnails slightly different for these different formats and segments would also be key. So there's kind of a visual guide for people in terms of what they value more and value most. So I do like this idea of starting to build out some of your content pillars. So I do think that makes sense. So yeah, thanks a lot for that, Terry. Um, let's see here. Yeah, going back to analytics here. A lot of you have questions about the accuracy of this chart when it says when your viewers are on YouTube, and you guys mistake when your viewers are on YouTube for, oh, this is the best time to upload. I would argue that this is the best time to live stream, where you would have the most optimal viewers of when your viewers are on YouTube. It could be the best time to upload is right before the brightest point here. It could be that that's the case, but it's not a guarantee. But this also just helps you for your initial views if you care about your initial views. I think we've seen enough data to prove that your initial views don't decide the fate of your videos. There was a point where most of us believed that to be true, and where it probably was true back in the earlier days of YouTube, earlier than now anyway. I would argue that pre-2020, how many views you got in 24 or 48 hours made a big difference in how your video performed overall. However, I do not believe in 2025 for the first 24 or 72 hours to be significant to video performance based on all the data we have, not only from my channel, but from multiple other channels and multiple other creators, especially if the content is evergreen. So this, I feel, matters much more for live streaming or premiering a very long video like an interview or a podcast a lot more. Now, overall, a tab that YouTube created that I really like that created in the last year or so is this content tab. Now, you get the general overall overview of your channel. You get to see things like your top live streams and how they've done in the last 90 days, which again, live streams are killing it for me. Your traffic sources, peak concurrent viewers, all the typical things. And that's if you have the live tab. You can also see how your shorts are doing. You can also get data on your YouTube posts to your community tab and how those things have performed historically. Again, what I do wish is I wish they showed you when here that you did a post, and then they could show you, oh, post more, so on and so forth. Also interesting that your post in your community tab can get you subscribers, because it does reach more than just your subscriber audience, obviously. Now here is the other thing with videos, and you can see videos. Now you can see I have not uploaded regular videos, and therefore you can see the difference in what it means in my viewership when at the beginning of the year I uploaded a bunch of videos, and then for February and March, not so much. We're going to correct that in April. We're going to do a massive upload sprint in April. We will upload more videos in April than we have all year round. So that's a thing. Now, if we click on all, we will see across all of our data and formats some interesting stuff. We will see which formats brought us more new viewers, which formats brought us returning viewers of our loyalty audience. So again, live streams didn't reach as many new people as videos, duly noted, but I also posted more videos. In fact, we can look at the number of videos published, 10 versus live stream published, 27. So usually I might have more live streams than that. But the more videos we post, the better we do for reaching more people, duly noted. Same thing with growing our subscribers, duly noted. Shorts not as meaningful, but we also don't post as many of them. Again, views per format over a 90-day period overall. Overlap between audiences. There really isn't as much overlap between audiences for my videos. Most people who watch videos don't watch shorts. Most people who do watch videos, there's enough of you, half and half of you will watch videos and live streams. Um, well, sorry, no, sorry, 15% of you will watch both, but a lot of you are, I'll only watch one or the other. So you are unique audiences with less overlap. There's an extreme in the lack of overlap when it comes to shorts, and there's an extreme in the overlap between lives and shorts versus videos and shorts. So again, that is something for you all to look at. This is why I also tell you guys that look at this. Shorts wouldn't have any impact on my channel in terms of the performance on live because there's no overlap between the audiences. Same thing with for regular videos and shorts, there's not an overlap. Even if I posted a bunch of shorts, you will all be wildly different audiences. And for the live streams, it's also very segregated like this in terms of preferences. So it's just something to think about. Browse features are mostly homepage views for the most part. So homepage and home screen, subscription feed, YouTube search is YouTube search. And then suggested videos is the suggested videos alongside the end card, but also the autoplay and next up videos. This tells you about remixes of your videos if you do care about that. I particularly don't. So those would be the primary things. YouTube can show you theoretical trends with its AI tools for brainstorming around your channel. And it calls this inspiration as well, and it can help you. You could prompt things, and YouTube will try to help you with things that could be of high interest to your audience. I don't like its generative thumbnails because I just not a fan. But some of these topic ideas can be interesting for that. So just something to consider in terms of using that trend and inspiration tab in YouTube. This shows you videos that are already performing for people who are similar to you that your audience watches. It's a free tool that YouTube offers. Again, you can use it or not use it. In general, by looking at this, you should have a better understanding of how your YouTube channel works. What I would say a lot of you should or could aim for is trying to establish 100 new subscribers a day would be a good goal for a lot of you to try to get to within the next year. If a lot of you can get to 100 new subscribers a day within next year, you'll be gaining 3,000 subscribers a month. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you gain 3,000 subscribers a month, in 3 years, you will be a 100,000 subscriber channel and have a silver play button. So that's why it would matter. And that's how I went from 20,000 to 100,000 is something similar to that. I was getting much higher subscriber count per day to do that, but that was the foundation of that idea. And so there you go. That is your deep dive workshop on YouTube Analytics. I'll answer some questions on the chat. If there's a piece of data that any of you would like to see, I'm happy to cover it here, but we'll open up questions to the chat for a few minutes here so we can try and answer any of those or show any data that you really, really want to see. Of course, we'll prioritize super chats if there are any. And so we will go ahead and move to that. A reminder that we do these Wednesday workshops pretty much every week, and we're doing a 12-week seminar basically for this. And you can watch the replays of this in the live tab of my YouTube channel, and you can just scroll down and you can go there. We'll probably put some kind of playlist together. We may or may not put it on the homepage of my channel, depending on how these perform. But we do want you guys to always have these as an evergreen workshop. Once we do all 12 weeks, we will be putting together a video. It will cut out the Q&A, but we will put together a mega video with all 12 weeks as the biggest reference and the longest free course that will ever probably exist on YouTube to help YouTubers under 20,000 subscribers. So at the end of 12 weeks, we will eventually get around to making that mega video as a reference. Mm. Yeah, thank you, Katie. I can also check the sheet for questions from tonight. Just have to go to live chat questions. I'm looking for the live chat questions for today. Okay, I see it. I think this is it. So there was a question from Larry. Give reason for dark area at top left. What is the accessible allegory that it points to regarding the thumbnail show and tell? I have no idea what you mean about the dark area in the top left. I have no idea, so I can't answer that one. We answered Terry W's question about the project management channel. Evie Aswiti asked, I know you're a guy, but do you have insight on beauty and self-development channels? Yes, and we've actually talked about those in the past. So for that, you might even want to look at the podcast episode I did with Gabby Soros, and I believe that might be on the main channel. I think it might also be on the podcast channel. Live chat questions, scroll down. Okay, the date confused me on that. Okay, cool. So Jermont says, which platform is made for video podcasting? I remember you mentioning it some weeks ago. Platform for video podcasting, Spotify for creators would be that. I mean, obviously YouTube, Kick, Twitch, Rumble all work, but Spotify is a video podcasting platform. They do host video podcasts for free. If you get monetized, they will pay you. So it's Spotify for creators. So just go look into Spotify for creators. Anaholics asks, is it better to have less viewers on a video if the viewers don't fit your target group? Let me give an example. You review expensive cameras, but a new iPhone released and you compare it to those cameras, suddenly you get a lot of extra views that you don't typically target. If you got a lot of extra viewers, that's fine because again, they're still trying to make a buying decision as to whether they want to upgrade from an iPhone or whether the iPhone's the perfect camera for them. I think it's important to understand who your audience actually is. And I think in that regard, it's not necessarily camera enthusiasts, but it's people trying to decide about a purchasing decision around cameras and camera accessories and tech in that instance. So that's what I would say about that. I think we get romantic about who we wish our audience was versus the problem we actually solve and the group of people that care about that. So take that into consideration. NC asked, is the avatar based on a specific problem and need they have solved or something else? We actually answered that one already. We talked about decision fatigue. Chat on the road asked, is it a good idea to use ChatGPT to change a published video's titles to a better possible title to help it in the algorithm? Not about the algorithm. It's more about will more people who are given impressions of that video, is the video still getting impressions? That's the first thing. Is it still getting impressions? Will improving it matter? And is that energy better spent on this video or just doing a remake of the video? That is what you have to answer. And so that's what I would focus on. let's see. Dave Morella says subtitles or dub voiceover for trying to attract foreign viewers. I would wait for YouTube's auto dubbing and let it do the work for you. And I would choose to opt into that if you care. But I would argue that that's better for entertainment channels and for faceless education channels. I would argue it is not going to be as good, I think, if you do education or news or reaction content to an American or English or whatever your native language audience is. I think that it benefits entertainment channels the most, if I'm being honest. Theoretically, maybe it helps tutorial channels. Kingdom Advancement says I have a niche on making videos for first-time dads, tutorials, tips, etc. I think it's a pretty good niche. However, growth seems slow. Anything specific I should pay attention to in my analytics? You should probably, excuse me, you should probably more than anything look at qualifying those topics and doing research. I would recommend using oneof10.com for that. If you use code Roberto, they give you 50% off. If you use code awesome, you get a free trial. But what I would say about that is qualify whether the thing you're making a tutorial about has a video that's ever gotten 100,000 to 1 million views. Then you know that people care about it. What we want to make is not always what people want to watch. What we think is important is not always important. So what we would do is we'd qualify the topic, then we'd go and make the best title and thumbnail possible for those people. And then I would argue we could go to the extreme of making the best and shortest video compared to everything that did get views. Or we can make the longest or more detailed video of everything that got views to give the ultimate guide. Or we could literally do both and just pick which one we're going to do first. So I would say that is what I would do. We got Ask Papa here. Thank you for a $10 super chat. Hey, Roberto, not analytics question, but for someone like myself, small channel approaching 5,000 subs, which your offerings would you suggest most? Thank you for all your help. No, I appreciate you, Ask Papa. For someone in your position, since your channel is at least monetized, I would recommend joining the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group and either do the yearly membership for the pro group or even the VIP group. The VIP group includes quarterly coaching calls with me to plan out the next 12 weeks. The pro group does not offer that. Both offer access to our private membership, so you can post thumbnails, titles, get feedback from our 100 other members, and me and my co-instructor, Andy Rivera. She's great. You guys will love her. She gives another perspective so that you're not just getting my point of view, but you're also getting the group point of view in terms of your peers. So there is a peer review component. The other thing is we meet twice a week. So I want you to think about it like this. Those of you who are trying to figure out whether Awesome Creator Academy is for you or is worthwhile, yes, it's $500 a year or $59 a month. But I want you to think of it from this perspective. Is spending $10 to $15 a week to have access to a community of other content creators who are full-time or want to be full-time, at people from 5,000 subscribers all the way to 500,000 subscribers, 1 million subscribers, that could give you advice or recommendations and have done it, is being in the office hours and spending an hour twice a week, 2 hours a week, worth $10 to $15 a week to you, aka $500 for the year, 50 weeks in a year, roughly, or again, $15 a week, $60 a month. Is that worth it to improve as a content creator and to invest in your career? Because I think that's a low commitment for most people. But if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But I think if you want to be a content creator and you want it to do well and you want it to be side income of, say, $500 to $1,000 a month even, then is it worth it to spend $10 to $15 a week to get better? That's the question. The question is it worth $1.50 to $2 a day to be a better content creator spread out over the year? That's the only commitment that we're really asking for when it comes to the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group, and that you show up to at least one of the 2 meetings a week, because we do want you to get your money's worth. But I remember when I was like in Boy Scouts, we had to pay dues every week. I think it was $5 or $10 a week to be in the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts. And yeah, that was it. That's the same kind of commitment we're basically asking for here because we're asking you to show up 1 of 2 days a week, Tuesday or Thursday. When I'm not streaming doing these workshops on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm with the Academy Pro Group members. So again, it's the equivalent of $10 to $15 a week, depending on whether you want to do monthly or yearly. I highly recommend the yearly. And out of the 50 weeks in the year doing these office hours, we want you to show up to at least one of them. You can show up to two of them if you want to. So we have that. And so that's what I would say. So I would say the Academy Pro Group membership is something that's worthwhile for YouTubers, if nothing else. I think it's the best offer that could be made where you can spend $10 to $15 a week and become a better content creator. I don't know that's possible to spend $10 to $15 a week on something and become a better content creator, but we made something that's close to that. I'm not sure what the only thing I can think of that you could spend equivalent money on is if you save up for new microphones, new lights, new camera gear, which I always tell people to do, is I would spend that money on new camera gear. I would spend it on that. The cheapest other offering, my book Create Something Awesome, $9 in Kindle. There's an audiobook component. There is the physical book, which is $14.99. So in terms of things I have to offer, I think that those are the most reasonable and accessible offers that we have right now. There may be other offers in the future that I think could be more affordable and reasonable. We have something you can buy right now that would help you guys improve. We're actually going to update it this week because ChatGPT got an update. There are the AI creator prompts mods. If you could post the link to the AI creator prompts, I also think it's in the description. We have 200 plus ChatGPT prompts for $9 right now. We are going to actually update it with some new prompts this week because of the big update to ChatGPT. So I think that that's actually a good one just to be able to help you not only with better titles, but there's prompts in here that can help you with questions for your podcast guest. There's things that can help you schedule a calendar, a content strategy. And these do work also not only with ChatGPT, but if you use Claude or Grok, they will work with Claude and Grok as well. You could also compare which AI gives you better results. Um, so yeah. So that's something to think about. And like I said, we'd love to have many more of you in the Academy Pro group. We do offer that. We also did create a open study hall to go with the workshops and our free Creator Foundations course. We have a free Creator Foundations course. It's either $0 or pay what you want, pay what you can. So if you want to make a $5 donation, a $10 or $15 donation, you can anytime you want. But if all you have is $0, but you want to become a better content creator, we do have the Creator Foundations course for free. We also created the Creator Foundation's Discord, where many of you, if you want to share your analytics and you want to share screenshots and data and compare, and you want to try to get some feedback with the other, the Academy Pro group is going to be higher level creators that can help you and more people that are like seriously on the, I want to make money on YouTube. I want to do this full time. They're not hobby creators. There's nothing wrong with doing it for a hobby. It's just that I'm not, if you want to do YouTube for a hobby, I'm not a good coach for you for that. I'm for people who want to potentially do either side income or full time or make it a career. The Creator Foundation's Discord is a free open community where creators can connect and collab and at least encourage each other and keep each other accountable. But it's also not a way to access me for free. I'm not going to be in there every day. Whereas I am in the Academy Pro group every day, and we do the 2 office hours meetings with me and Andy in the group on live calls every week, twice a week, unless I'm traveling or it's a holiday. So that's how we would normally do it. So again, thanks for the question, Ask Papa. I love what we've been seeing with your channel, and the growth is there and the potential is there with what you're doing. But if that's something you're interested in, that's what I currently have to offer. But thank you for that question. So we got that one. We have another question for Dex, not Dexter. Dex says, I've noticed that a lot of channels that do long form do not do shorts, like Anton Daniels and Lead Attorney. Is it bad to post shorts if you do long form? It's not bad to do shorts. Those two, I know specifically, though, also optimize around what's the highest yield revenue opportunity for them. They would only do short form if they could make it make sense for the money, or if they could 100% automate it. They're not doing it because they're worried about it hurting their channel. They're not doing shorts because the dollar per effort ratio for them is not worth it to do shorts versus doing a live stream, even a shorter live stream, or doing a quick video or reaction video. The time that they would make the cut down and edit short, unless they fully automate the process, not worth it for them. They get astronomical RPMs, so they don't bother with shorts for that reason. Me, I would only do it for new audience potential reach or new data opportunities. That's why if we're going to do shorts, we're going to mostly do it on my highlights channel. We might end up doing a total of 100 evergreen shorts on this channel at some point. One, because there are sponsors that will want us to do shorts and do short form. Two, um, it'll be interesting data. And then three, we at least will not be invisible on this channel to the YouTube Shorts feed if I make 100 of them and they're evergreen. So I might make 100 evergreen shorts, but they're monetarily for my type of channel not as worthwhile. But they do grow a channel. It's worked for growing my friend Daniel Batal. It's grown Think Media. It's grown vidIQ. So it can grow channels in my niche, but it would just be a good way to get me closer to a gold play button. It will not make me money. Anton and Lead Attorney, they do not care about getting necessarily a gold play button. They do care about making $1 million in a year. So they're going to prioritize content formats that do that because they're smart, savvy businessman, and they're looking at earning to effort ratio. Now, I believe that if they had for like little or no money, a means of automating the shorts and getting free money from that, it would make sense for them if they had to do no extra effort. But the effort to income ratio for them, the effort to earning ratio is in long form. Therefore, they don't have a big reason to do it. Same thing for someone like Nate the lawyer as well. So that would be why. Yes, please like the video for the YouTube algorithm if you're watching on YouTube. Cool Breeze asks thoughts on putting chapters in your videos. My thoughts on chapters in your videos is, believe it or not, chapters are the real SEO hack. The timestamp chapters, the transcript of your videos being accurate transcripts, and the titles of your videos are actually all you need to worry about for the most part when it comes to the SEO of your videos. So it's how you scripted your videos and how that plays out in the transcript, and keyword frequency in that, titles, and then the timestamp chapters also our search results in YouTube and Google by themselves and come up in the results. So we know for a fact that they affect SEO and ranking. We know that because it displays them in the search results and it displays them in Google and it can recommend videos based on timestamp chapters. So we know that for a fact that that's an impact. So I do advise them, especially for your long form content or information based content. um, I also think it's better for someone to skip and watch 2 to 3 minutes of the section of a video that they want instead of clicking and dipping out before 30 seconds and abandoning the video altogether. So I'd rather get, even on a 20-minute video, I'd rather get 3 minutes of watch time than 30 seconds or less of watch time. So if my choice is time stamping and getting 3 minutes out of somebody and not time stamping and losing them after 30 seconds, it's just better to do the timestamps. So I just rather do it and give them the choice and the agency to decide how much of a video they want to commit to and be done with it. I think it respects the viewer. I think when people see a structured video, they're less likely to rage quit a video. So that is why I would do it. You also will notice that we do timestamps right after these are finished. We have our great moderation team, particularly we have Doug Hewson really helping out with the timestamps for me. So after our live streams, we get timestamps up pretty much right away so that people can navigate the videos more easily. And we find that it does help with the retention. So it's just better to do that than to not do that. Absolutely. So, that is pretty much the main things I wanted to cover, and it doesn't look like we have many more analytics questions. Um, so I think we answered everything. Isn't that right, mods? We answered all the questions? Yeah. The timestamps on this will probably be a little slower because of how much granular detail we went into. So that is a thing. Tonight, I will try to get the download link for week 4 set up for you guys if you want to revisit. Even if you come back tomorrow morning, even if you want to get the download link for the slide presentation for week 4. Week 3 is obviously up. Week 2, week 1. So there is that. The other thing that, yeah, we covered RPM and CPM in here. We did a lot of coverage of revenue, RPMs, CPMs, measuring revenue. We did RPM per day, which a lot of you don't even look at. We looked at RPM per day. We looked at effective RPM. We looked at monetized versus non-monetized views. We covered revenue and RPM quite a bit. So yeah. We tried to cover as much as we can. We will get those slides out for you. I'm also going to start posting links to the slides and the workshops themselves and promote the workshops and the slides more on X so that people can find them. I'm probably going to also just start doing more Instagram stories in general. I'm going to start doing more Instagram stories in general, but I'm also going to make sure that I start linking to this content and to the workshops in particular in Instagram stories so that people know that they exist and so more people can be helped by them. I'm probably going to also start probably doing, since we do these on Wednesdays, I might end up doing Thursday newsletters that are some wrap-ups of notes that are similar to these workshops. In fact, actually, no, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to incorporate these workshops into the Evergreen onboarding for the newsletter, the Evergreen onboarding, and I will also probably do some highlight notes from these workshops for that as well. And maybe in the earlier part of the week's newsletter, I might start doing highlights of success stories from the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group. Like we've had a lot of really interesting milestones and success stories. Cassandra from becoming a farm girl just hit 300,000 subscribers. And 3 years ago, when she came to the academy, 3 years ago, she was smaller than this when she started with the academy. I think she was like 10,000, but I know that 3 years ago, well, less than 3 years ago, because it was like November of 2022. In November of 2022, Cassandra had 30,000 subscribers. She has 300,000 subscribers today. A successful and thriving channel if you go check her out at Becoming a Farm Girl, and is absolutely killing it. And I'm very proud of her. And I'm very proud of what she accomplished, but she ended up 10xing her channel in under 3 years, which is kind of unbelievable and unprecedented. Like everyone thinks about viral videos and blowing up, but she did it with just hard work, and she did it with 150 videos. And she just did it with hard work and just getting a video out every single week, no matter what, for the most part. She's had a recent slowdown, but she's about to ramp back up. But it's like just getting a video out, just getting a video up that your audience cares about every week for the most part without fail. She did that for 3 years. I'm not telling you all that if you do that for 3 years, you're going to get 300,000 subscribers, but she locked in. She dialed in. She knew what her audience cared about. She dialed in, locked in. Now she's really been working on, and what me and her are working on in elite coaching. We're doing some elite coaching together. We're locking in on her systems, her processes, and now more on her revenue streams and how to take things further beyond, and what the long-term plan is for just getting more sponsorships. The goal is to lock in 3 really solid sponsors at high-paying amounts. That's my goal for all of you, is if you can get 2 to 3 recurring sponsors with 12-month contracts, 6-month contract minimums. We're making a course around brand deals for that. We also have the brand deal starter kit. Mods, if you can link them to the brand deal starter kit in the chat. And if you use code 20 off, you get 20% off of that. But brand deals, lucrative opportunity. User generated content for brands on their social medias, huge opportunity. Huge opportunity. So it makes sense. Lil Crafty Nook says, I would love to move and be able to do that. I was an option once, but I think we decided to stay put. Yeah, sometimes for your content, there are things that help you like geography. There are some people that their geography determines the capabilities of what they can do with their content. Sometimes it's the type of house they have. They build their house around wanting to be a content creator. They at least set aside one room for it. I've set aside more than one room for it. So those things definitely make a difference. I will give you guys a small YouTuber tip that I gave to one of my recent coaching clients. So I had a coaching client and he couldn't do content with the frequency and consistency that he wanted or that we knew would grow the channel. And here is what we figured out. Oh, well, it's more of a tip I gave him he had no idea about. If you're struggling for a quiet place to film your content, there is an answer called the public library. What most people don't realize is how much of a resource hack the public library is for a content creator. So you get a library card. You can use conference rooms at the library for any legal purpose for free for $0. And you can check out a conference room for a couple of hours at a time. And you can go in there. You could film a podcast interview. You can do the voiceover for your YouTube videos. You could film the whole YouTube video there. Or if you just need a quiet place to edit, you can book a conference room all to yourself, not share it with anybody. You can just edit there. You can host a meeting with a local client or a local business there and get them to support you and do something there together where you do your meeting there if you need to. If you need a quiet place to meet with a conference room, you don't have to rent a place downtown. You don't have to have a WeWork. You could just use the public library that way if it makes sense for you. But mostly, it's a quiet place, secure place with no distractions for you to film content quietly and securely, or to edit in peace if you need to edit in peace for a little while. And your home, for whatever reason, isn't a good fit for that. Also, if you need to upload with decent internet connection that's not going to go out on you, internet connection and Wi-Fi from your laptop in the library, it could be better. You plug into the Ethernet port and then have wired upload there. So that could help you as well. So if you just get a conference room at the public library, which you can do for $0 with a library card, it can help you. My book, if you have a library card, you can use the Libby app and you get access to the ebook version of my book for $0 from the library because I made it available to public libraries because I believe in that. There are LinkedIn learning courses, and if you talk to the library and ask them about LinkedIn Learning, some of your local libraries can hook you up with a completely free opportunity and membership to LinkedIn Learning, and you can learn free courses. And LinkedIn Learning is not free courses from just fly-by-night people. LinkedIn Learning, years and years ago, paid me to teach a video marketing course, and they flew me out to Carpinteria, California. They filmed everything. I wrote the scripts. We sat there and we made a complete video marketing course that got thousands of participants, thousands of ratings over the years, positive ratings on LinkedIn. It's one of their best reviewed courses ever. And we did that. I still get royalties from that course to this day for licensing it to LinkedIn. They own it. I don't own the rights to anything. I licensed it to them. They paid me, flew me out there, and they paid me royalties, and they've been paying me royalties on it for years because they've gotten great feedback and reviews. I should probably hit them up and say, hey, let's do another course together or something. But I digress. The point is, you can get free LinkedIn learning courses from the library, and you could use that to train and learn something like graphic design or video editing or Photoshop or something like that from a professional that LinkedIn vetted and qualified to make a course. And they don't just pick anyone off the streets. There's that. Obviously, you can get free book checkout from the library. But again, a lot of you didn't realize with the Libby app, you get audio and ebook access as well. So for a lot of you, that will be more productive because you can use the audiobook stuff during your day. So the most underutilized $0 resource besides my YouTube content in the entire world is the public library system. And almost no creator in the entire creator economy ever talks about it or tells you that. I'm the only person I know who talks about using the public library as a content creator as a resource. So I just thought that it was something really important for all of you to know about. Is just that the public library is there for you, and almost no one thinks about it when they think about the fact, oh, I can't film, oh, I don't have a quiet place, oh, if only I had a quiet place to edit, or oh, I don't have this resource, or oh, I can't learn this skill. If you were a content creator, a freelancer, a solo entrepreneur, the public library is the single most important resource that you will ever have. I promise you. So, yep. So that is something I would encourage many of you to take advantage of, and that would benefit you tremendously. And it's a $0 resource. It's the best $0 resource for a content creator that's ever existed. I actually believe I'm going to make a video on the top 15 free resources for content creators, and it won't all be my resources. I will make sure that the one of the first things I lead with is the public library for exactly the reason that I stated. And I think that that will, you know, be important. Oh, Ask Papa has a great question. So Ask Papa asked, does the starter kit come with the Awesome Creator Academy Pro Group membership? Okay, really important thing here, and maybe I should actually just bring this up on the screen so I can explain it. So with the Awesome Creator Academy Pro Group, you actually get every single one of our digital products as long as you are still a member. So if you sign up for a year, you have access for the full year. If it's monthly, it's month to month, kind of like Adobe, but you get access to every single product, all of our templates, our email swipe files, our 100 hours of video training, any of our micro courses like the Canva for Creators course, etc. You get everything and all of our future courses, like the Brand Deal Secrets course that I'm releasing. You get all of that as an Academy Pro Group member. So you get access to all the resources and you get to attend the 2 weekly office hours sessions that we do. And that's all for $500 a year or $59 a month. That's current pricing. So that is what you get. So to just give you guys a little background and perspective, that's what we offer. So you get access to everything. You get access to all of the products, and you also get access to the membership group, the private group. You get access to the office hours training sessions, and you get access to all of our templates and digital downloads. So that is $500 a year. The VIP members get all of that, and they get quarterly 30-minute one-on-one sessions with me for that one. That one's $1,000 a year. To put this in perspective, the pro group membership is $10 a week if you really think about it. The VIP membership is $20 a week if you think about it, to make you a better content creator. We do have a basic membership where you only get the products and not the pro group or the individual coaching. So that would be the difference in these 3 levels. If you go to www.awesomecreatoracademy.com/join, you get all the information on that. So this tells you more or less what you get and what we have to offer, some background on what I've accomplished. Also, my co-instructor, Andy Rivera, who has a background in brand strategy, copywriting, as well as podcasting. We focus on core, which is content strategy, optimizing workflows, revenue, and of course, engagement. So we focus on what we call core as our focus. And so this basically tells you what you get and how it works. So that is what we have to offer. And then, of course, we have FAQs for you so that you can get basic questions answered. Recently, I did put together a testimonials page where we have a bunch of testimonials, but we also have over 100 reviews on Trustpilot, with most of them being 5-star reviews. And we made it convenient to where you can click here and see all the Trustpilot reviews. But we also posted some most recent ones. I did this recently where I posted from some fairly recent reviews over the last year, including some from the last couple of months. And these are for different things. Some of these are from one-on-one coaching. Some of these are from the group membership. You can see this was from a 4-hour VIP session, which is a unique offer. That's a more expensive offer. But you can see that Angela went into detail about our 4-hour call. So there you go. And most of these people are publicly verifiable content creators. We have 100 Trustpilot reviews, and most of these people use their YouTube channel name in their reviews, so you can look them up. So again, that's the offer. And like I said, I try to make this very simple to wrap your head around. To put it in perspective, a basic membership is like saying, is like being able to improve your content worth $1 a day to you? The pro group is, hey, is this worth $10 a week to you? VIP is this worth $20 a week to you? So that is how we did the packaging, because I kind of wanted to make it simple to decide what you want to do and what your level of commitment is and can be. So that's what we wanted to offer. So hopefully that sums it up and kind of makes it very clear for people. Wow, we got Katie with the actual data and stats in the um in the chat there. That's amazing. My music publisher says something really interesting about the downtown LA library. I didn't know this. This is actually kind of cool. So my music publisher says at the library in downtown Los Angeles, they have a fully updated recording studio with all new equipment, Pro Tools, microphone, everything, and they even have a 3D printer. I didn't know that. That's pretty dope. If you're someone who uses kit.com, which is the email newsletter software I have, they have something called Kit Studios where they're paying members of the software can use their studios for free to record video and podcast interviews and so on. It's started by Nathan Barry. He's the founder. He's also someone I consider a friend. We've done an interview together on my podcast if you want to check that out. So with Kit Studios, they have one in Chicago. I believe they're building a couple of more in different cities, very similar to what YouTube did with its YouTube creator spaces. But they're doing this as a software company for their paying clients that use their software, regardless of like how much a month you pay. As long as you've been with them a certain amount of time, you can use the studios for $0. So they're building this in various cities. I'm begging them to put one in Atlanta downtown. I'll use it all the time if they do. So I'm begging Nathan and the team to put a Kit Studios in Atlanta. But yeah, they have one in Chicago. I believe I think it's Chicago, Ohio, and I think they're going to do one in Florida, but I'd have to check. So very interesting. Yeah, don't sleep on the library. Um, very, very practical, has all kinds of resources. Thanks, Axe Papa. I appreciate you. Wow, Roberto must be Latin for value. This young man gives and gives. Yeah, no, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, Katie, for breaking down the actual translation for the yearly memberships. So yeah, basic is basically 82 cents a day. Um, the pro group is practically $1.37 a day, and the VIP is basically $2.74 a day. That is wild to think about. Yes, some community colleges also have podcast recording studios, and some community colleges will let people who are members of the student body, they will let them sometimes borrow equipment for recording equipment in addition to using spaces. Obviously, there's a liability waiver. Obviously, you're on the hook if you break the stuff, you have to pay for it. But yes, community colleges do offer that. Yes, the primary difference in pricing is accountability, but also community, and also the fact that there's a direct feedback loop. For example, people have, because they get multiple perspectives, gotten the ability to improve their thumbnails, not just from my advice, but also advice of other people from a different number of perspectives, and also unique advice. There's also the fact that it's not just about your thumbnails or your titles. It's about your productivity and your workflow and what tools you're using, or not knowing that a certain resource exists, or not knowing. And it's more than YouTube. We talk about YouTube, we talk about podcasting. Some of us are publishing books. So we talk about self publishing. We talk about revenue streams. We talk about brand deals quite a lot, but not the only thing. We talk about affiliate marketing. We even were talking with one of our members. She is a social media manager. She does a podcast, and she also has a live chat on X. But we were talking about, she's published a book, and we were talking about her continuing as an author and also her newsletter, and how she can get sponsors for her book and also do a double dip on sponsorship for the newsletter, and then also how she can get those sponsors to let her use her affiliate link. So that's actually really, really important, um, in terms of just some kind of diversity of offerings for different types of people, because there's there's a value play for her where she can make more money between the fact that she has her podcast, but there's a bundle for that with her public speaking for her brand deal offers, and her newsletter for her brand deal offers. And then she can get a sponsor for her next book that could also include them ordering a certain number of copies of the book, because that can help move her up the bestsellers list in her category. So there's all kinds of things we talk about there that a lot of people that go beyond the surface of like YouTube advice, that gets very specific to what a creator's position and needs are. We also are recently talking about the fact that with threads, because you can link in Instagram threads, you can link out. A lot of people are sleeping on affiliate marketing for Instagram threads, when, especially if you do products, especially some of you, someone was asking about beauty and makeup. The most underutilized strategy in Instagram is affiliate marketing for beauty and makeup products, between linking out on Instagram stories, but also creating Instagram highlights that can be a buyer's guide for different types of beauty products and makeup stuff in those individual Instagram highlights, and then doubling down with Instagram links linked to carousel post in threads of photos with great, beautiful, luscious macro photography, product photography in Instagram for the beauty products. This will work in tech too, by the way. This will work for tech YouTubers and beauty YouTubers. And then posting the link, because you can link out from threads. The affiliate marketing money and opportunity there is practically endless with Instagram, but no one thinks of Instagram as the single greatest product-based affiliate marketing play in the entire world for a content creator. Almost no one will talk about that. I've seen almost no creator economy educator talk about the lucrative nature of Instagram affiliate marketing for beauty and tech creators, or anyone that does product review. No one's talking about it. So it's something that we are obviously discussing, but like I haven't seen public discourse around it. And it's like unprecedented abilities to print money if you're good at it, especially if you have a photography background and you're doing really good product photography, and you can do the flat lays. If you can do the flat lays, the top down flat lays, or if you are very good with lighting, especially, and you can do things. One of the things that people could do is they could get these plastic reflective tabletops, and then combine that with RGB lighting, and you could create this unique and gorgeous product look for product photography, um, that would do very well as far as an Instagram aesthetic. because then you could combine the reflective glass background, then remove the regular background as far as everything that's not the reflective tabletop glass. You could do that in one click with Canva or Adobe Express. Then you could put a really nice palette behind it that makes sense, and instantly you've got commercial grade product photography for affiliate marketing or UGC opportunities. And you could brand yourself off the affiliate marketing to get the brand deals, but then also to get UGC and do user generated content on their platforms, or you could license your images to the brand. I know people who've managed to do that as far as the product photography. In fact, for my product photography, they didn't pay me for it. They did a recognition post for it, but I was happy with it because I was like, oh, yes, please use it. Sony Sony Photography asked me to use one of my images in one of their posts a few years back, and I was absolutely happy to do it and flattered to do it. For that one, I didn't need money. I just wanted to be able to have the bragging rights of that one. I could have probably got money, but Sony's done so many nice things for me. They flew me out to camera camp twice. They've helped me with being able to repair and rent gear for free. So I was happy to do something nice for the Sony product team because they've just been really incredibly kind to me over the years. So I didn't need to get paid for that one. But it just goes to show you what can be possible with Instagram. At some point, we will do, not in the next, not in these 12 weeks, but at some point, I want to do a deep dive and workshop on Instagram for a lot of you, building a personal brand in Instagram and utilizing things like that, because I think it'd be incredibly lucrative for you. For those asking about licensing, it depends on the nature of the agreement and largely on the length of licensing, but you can always use licensing as a lever to increase the price of anything when it comes to negotiating as a content creator. Um, Katie, yes, updates to the AI creator prompts auto load to previous purchases. In fact, all product updates do go to previous product holders. It's automatic. That's the beauty of Kajabi. It's all automatic. That's one of the other things we do. And that's one of the nice things about the fact that we also give the Academy members all access to all products is that the updates for everything that the Academy members benefit from push to all standalone users and vice versa. So we did that on purpose. We did that on purpose. And then you get the lifetime updates whenever we update a product. If you bought that product or you're in the Academy, you get the updates. We do lifetime updates. Um, Now, the frequency of those updates depends on what we think is reasonable. For most part, though, it's at least a once a year update. But if there's a major thing that makes us have to do an update, it could go more than 1 year updates. It can go, we've been updating the YouTube Starter Kit for 4 years. We've been updating the YouTube Starter Kit for people for like 4 years, 5 years. We've done updates to that product every year. Every year for the past like 5 years, we've updated the YouTube Starter Kit at least once a year. Yep. So yeah, we use Kajabi for all of the awesome Creator Academy products, the pro group membership, the coaching. We use it for everything. It's where the long-term courses like the brand deals course that we're working on and the UGC course, like there are three big courses that we're releasing that we've been working on concurrently for months and months now. And it's the brand deals and UGC course have been being worked on at the exact same time. A course that we will keep working on that we're still working on is also the Creator Business Blueprint course, which is a course that is built around the operations of being a full-time content creator. So that is things like the logistics and payroll aspect of being a content creator, how to pay your freelancers, how to pay your team. That is, there are aspects in there in how to organize the contracts and be able to lay that out, the things that your accountant is going to ask for. We're not going to give you tax advice. We're going to tell you what your accountant's going to ask for though, and what you're going to need. Some advice, but not legal advice on LLC versus S Corp and the benefits of that. Some security protocols to put in place to protect your privacy and what tools allow you to protect your privacy and some things you should be doing there to be safe. there are a lot of things we're going to be setting up in this creator, uh, business blueprints course, that specifically are around all the different revenue streams you can be using and how to use them effectively. But also, like I said, operations, how to set up systems for training your staff, the best tools for collaborating with your video editors so that you can keep them organized, keep them informed, and get them the feedback that they need. Things of that nature. How to set up your Slack to communicate with your team, and why Slack is ideal for internal team communication. So that's like, the creator business blueprint. That's like going to be a big course. The brand deal secrets course, obviously, and the UGC course, user generated content, because that's very specific around UGC and NIL deals. It does merit a different course than just the brand deals course. There's a component of that in the brand deals course, but there's a separate focus on this because there's also a standalone UGC business model around basically building an agency where you create content for the brands of social media around their products and services, and where you prioritize that over building up your own platform to host brand deals. You more become an independent agency to churn UGC content. So there's more granular detail in that than a section of the brand deals course that addresses it. So that's why those are separate courses. So that's something that we have coming down the pipeline. And it's just kind of an FYI of, like, the way I want to do things is, like I said, I'm taking somewhat of a community college approach to the notion of creator education and that's how I kind of want to operate it. I want to do the best of what I think is accessible education. And I want to take content creation as a serious white collar profession, but at the same time, I want to treat it like the trades. And I think that there's a version of it right now that makes sense in terms of approaching it like vocational trading in the trades, and using the frameworks of effective community college education, and even specifically prioritizing the framework of what the lifestyle of a night school student is that has a full-time job during the day. So that's how I think about the creator economy and the current state of creator education. And that's why I do things the way that I'm doing, including my thought process around these workshops and the idea of taking the workshops later and cutting the workshops minus the Q&A into a massive free course that exists on the internet that anyone can use to start a YouTube channel if they're under 20,000 subscribers, and really understand it and really get value out of it. And then we added a layer of a community that I don't have to do maintenance on in the form of the Creator Foundation's Discord. And we have a really simplistic version of helping you get real answers and have a place to start with the Creator Foundations course, because we answer about 20 of your questions in standalone short videos of just answering questions in those short videos, but then also building the structure around the 10 pillars of YouTube lecture series, which right now we have 2 episodes out of that series. I have I have another 2 episodes that I have to finish editing. I'm gonna try and get them out while I'm in California if I can. If not, it'll be after I get back. Um, and then we'll have that because we'll start finishing out the 10 pillars of YouTube series. But in that course, we have the lecture series, we have the standalone videos, but we also have a 90-minute monetization masterclass that was from a live in-person event that I did in New York. That event company no longer exists, so we took the whole 90 minutes and we gave it to you free in the Creator Foundations course. And like I said, that course is either $0, it's free, or you can make a donation on it, pay what you want, pay what you can, 5, 10, $15, whatever you want. And we give that to people. So there's a place for people to start. There's the deep dives of these workshops for excessive detail, for complete understanding to the best of our ability. We also give you the worksheets for free from this in terms of PDF slides, and all we ask in return is the email address. And we won't spam you, but we will market to you, but we'll just tell you what we have to offer, and we'll also chock full of free advice in those emails as well. So that's kind of the thing is I am also working on something else. I'm narrowing it down. We had 30 assignments, but I thought that was too overwhelming. I thought that was too overwhelming to give people 30 assignments and to make assignment sheets for real world assignments like a school curriculum. So we've narrowed it to 20, but I think I'm going to cut it down to like 18, 12, 18, something like that. And then I will create the other assignments as almost like a bonus assignment. But I wanted to create real world assignments that people could do and download a sheet for in the Creator Foundations course, the free course. And then I wanted people to actually go out into the real world and do it and do the assignments and then talk about what they did and what they learned in the Discord server. Because I think that a big problem for a lot of people is they're here consuming information on my channel, Nick's channel, Sean's channel, all the channels, vidIQ, whatever. And then they're not going out and putting those things into practice nearly enough. And so I wanted to create a way to do the equivalent of lab hours and lab work where you go out into the real world and you actually have to do the assignment and you have to do the assignment multiple times. And then if you want people to give you feedback on the thing you did, go to the Discord server and get some feedback from people. I'm not going to grade you on it. I'm not going to come in there and criticize it, or like if you want me to see something, that's what coaching is for, but or even joining the pro group is for. But I wanted to create a scenario where what if creators actually start practicing their chops out there in the real world and do actual work to improve and then show other people that they are improving. And that's outside of publishing their content, because not everyone's ready to publish their content. Some people want to know that they've got things dialed in before they upload. Some people need that sense of security or feedback before they upload. So I wanted to create a means of people doing that that might also not have to cost them upfront money while they're still in their experimental phase and not able to earn from their content. Like if people aren't earning from their content yet, I want them to spend as little money as possible and use free resources, put their money into upgrading their equipment, for example. And also, if they're going to need a guide outside of the free material that's structured, I made a $9 to $14 book that they can buy. So that is kind of the idea behind all of this. If you guys wanted to understand me a little better and where my head is and what I'm trying to do, is that I wanted to create the system that would have best worked for me if I was doing this and I was like 20 years younger or 20 years older. See, that's my idea is what if I was trying to do this at 20, 21 years old? Or what if I was trying to do this at my mom's age? What if I was trying to do this in my 60s? So I wanted to figure out what makes sense given both of those extremes. And then I wanted to build off of that idea. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But anyway, hopefully that helps you all out. That is pretty much it for today's workshop. And then thank you for all the questions. And now you all know a little bit more about Awesome Creator Academy, what my mission is, what we're doing with the Creator Foundations course and Discord server. And now you guys know you can use the public library and all the good things that come from doing that. So if you enjoyed everything you learned here, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already, and we will catch you next time. Like I said, come back tomorrow morning. We'll have timestamps for you. We'll have a link to the week 4 slideshow presentation for you to download that for free. And we have all kinds of other great things in stored. We will catch you next time. I'm going to be in social media marketing world in San Diego this weekend, but I fly back Tuesday night on a red eye, which means I will be here Wednesday, voice willing and airlines willing, God willing. I will be here. So I will see you all next week. Also, I don't fly out until Saturday night or Sunday morning. There go. We will have channel reviews this Friday as well. So look forward to that. Thank you so much. Appreciate the $10 super chat there on the way out, closing out. So yeah, you guys have a great night. Stay awesome. And when we end the stream, for those of you curious about Awesome Creator Academy and the Pro Group, we do have an explainer video talking about that as we close out the stream. Stay awesome. Take care.
Becoming a content creator can be a very lonely process and adventure, but it doesn't have to be. When I first got started going from 0 to 100,000 subscribers, I had to do it all by myself. I didn't have a community of like-minded and like-hearted creators to talk to or to ask for advice, and I certainly didn't have a mentor to guide me along the way. I built the Awesome Creator Academy Pro Group because when I was getting started, what would have meant the world to me is not to have to struggle alone when it comes to being a full-time content creator. If I had had a community of creators that I could talk to and share information with, I would have avoided a lot of mistakes in my early career, and there would have been opportunities with brand deals where I would have gotten a better understanding of how to negotiate, and I wouldn't have undersold myself. I wouldn't have been taken advantage of in those early situations. So in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro Group, myself and our co-instructor Andy Rivera, we meet twice a week for office hours with our creators, and we share information, we talk about how we're building our creator businesses, and we offer constructive criticism and critique on the things that we're working on for our projects. You'll be part of a community of usually around 100 like-minded creators who are taking this seriously just like you are. You'll also have all access as a Pro Group member to all of our past, present, and future courses, training, templates, digital downloads, and swipe files. You have full access to our creator blueprints where you'll see our systems and the frameworks that we use to execute. You know, you always fall or rise to the standard of your systems. A lot of people really underestimate how important that is. We have digital download templates that can help you so you don't have to start with a blank canvas. These done for you files are actually incredibly helpful, especially for things like your thumbnails, your media kits, and anything you need for your branding as a content creator to look professional. We have email swipe files that help you with reaching out to brands. We have great information in helping you price yourself and build your packages appropriately. And remember, as part of the Pro Group, you have the opportunity to ask questions from myself and all the other creators participating. And so this means that if you need to ask questions about a negotiation or a brand deal, there's something you're not sure about, you're trying to find a better monetization opportunity with merch or affiliates, you have people who have done it before, who are already making money, that you can reach out to for advice. As I said, when I was starting out and I was flying solo, this is the thing that I wish I'd had the opportunity to be a part of, and it would have made all the difference in the world in helping me be an even more successful content creator. If you have questions, you can always reach out via support. We're happy to help you figure out if the Pro Group is right for you. Also, we do have the opportunity if you become a VIP member, if you also would like quarterly one-on-one coaching with me directly. Now go out there and create something awesome today, and hopefully we'll see you in the Pro Group. Take care.